Hello, my fellow people. How y'all doing today? I apologize for the test. Are we here now? Are we here now? God, man. Jesus, this thing wasn't working. But the mic was definitely cooking right now. I'm not going to hold you. But Mars, unfortunately, cannot join us today. JD, again, mishandled the time. It was supposed to be at 2:15. He put it at 2 o'clock, so it is what it is. But we're going to talk about ESPN today. ESPN has opened up about what's going on and how much money they lost. I think they lost like $5 billion. And I think it's important to talk about what happened and what transpired that led up to this, right? They fired a tons of media members because of that. And, we got to get down to the nitty gritty of this. I do think Stephen A. Smith, do think what they should do for ESPN is try the best to get Shannon Sharp on there for first take, because that's definitely going to bring tons of views and tons of character and could revitalize a lot of the things going on. But it seems as if the state of the NBA community right now, they're not as focused on the narrative points of the modern day ESPN, and they're going to outside sources like Players Choice, like Let's Keep It a Buck, like the Paul George podcast, like Gilbert Arenas podcast, and they don't need it. They don't need they a lot of people are beginning to realize that they don't need ESPN to build their brands. They don't need ESPN to talk about basketball, and it's inspiring a lot of people and inspiring a lot of growth. So ESPN, I'm not sure how they will be able to handle this, if they can. If I was ESPN, what I would do is start going online and trying to partner up with these guys who's making it big to try to bring them onto their own platform. That way they could still be they could still generate income from that. So Dub, you still haven't unhid me from my other account. Please do. I'll talk to them about that. I don't know what's going on with that, but we'll see. We will see. What's good, fellas?
Yo,
What's
I'm at
poppin'?
work right. You are?
Hello.
Good. Hello, how's everyone doing?
Yo,
What's
you also forgot about
good,
how
good.
the journalism has fell off for ESPN, because they used to do 30 for 30, and they used to do like basically players from like 4 or 5 years ago removed, like Maurice Cromartie from Ohio State, who had the problem with the gun incident. Like they used to do some real good investigative journalism in that 30 for 30, but they just stopped doing that and started outsourcing doing other things. And then when they signed up with actually signed up with Disney, I think that's what really killed them, because Disney
Yeah.
hasn't been making any money. So if you really look like back in the day, ESPN was the first real spot that you could go and get all different kinds of sports. But the problem was they outsourced even dodgeball. Like nobody really watched dodgeball. They did a lot of stuff, and they even had the college Big Ten, which I don't even know how they lost contracts to all these other colleges, because they were the first ones to do that, had the college sports and all of that. But I guess it's just a bunch of bad investments. If they try to do it now, I think they're going to lose out, because a lot of people are making more money just doing it themselves. Like, look at Shaq. You know what I'm saying? Like big names could just go on here, do their own thing on YouTube, or create their own VPN and make their own money, have their own super chats. So
Also, I want to add on because like nowadays, like television really isn't the same anymore because like people don't really watch as much TV or cable that much. So like people kind of like stream movies, stream TV shows, have like Hulu Plus, Netflix, and YouTube is like kind of like bigger than ever. Podcasts are bigger than ever. So more people are gonna kind of trending towards YouTube and all that stuff because like it's easier access because cable TV. It's just a theory that I thought of because like cable TV just isn't like the same as it was like a couple years ago. Whereas like now when you kind of just watch it on YouTube or like ESPN, because like ESPN probably gets more views on YouTube than they do on actually the live television show. In my opinion, I think because like when you go to the YouTube videos, it probably has a million, couple thousand, but like it's just easier access versus like why would I watch? Why would I pay if I don't have cable? Right, I can just go to YouTube, watch like a Player Choice podcast or Pat McAfee podcast per se. And that's just my theory on it. Like I think
Can
a
y'all hear
downfall.
me?
Is
plus,
like,
you also gotta, plus also look
You
at
hear
the
me?
apps. Like if you download
Yeah, I hear you.
ESPN apps, excuse me, if you download ESPN apps, it's like $20 a month when you could just basically, like you said, download basic cable or whatever you need for your streaming cheaper. And you could even get sports off of YouTube and Apple for cheaper.
But
Excuse me.
I do want
Netflix.
I would say though real quick. It's just like I mean, are they as big as they used to be? No, but as far as proportionally in the sports world, they are still by far number one. I
oh
think
yeah,
like the downfall is kind of being like exaggerated because as soon as you do have other options, of course, number one isn't going to be as strong, but you know, it's other stuff to watch. Back then, it was what, a couple of channels. Now it's thousands of options to view on a daily basis when it comes to sports, and they are still proportionally by far number one. So it's like I think the downfall is getting like a little exaggerated. Of course, when you have more options, you're not going to have such a stronghold on a community like you used to. But because I was watching Stephen A. shit like not too long ago, and he was like saying the numbers, and I'm like, damn, like yeah, they still proportionally dominating the sports world. Like it's not even close as far as another network getting the numbers that ESPN does. So yeah, they not as big, but they still the biggest conglomerate in the industry.
I mean, yeah, they're
No,
still
that's
the
a
biggest conglomerate. Yeah, I was just saying, like, I mean, you do make a good point. They're still the biggest conglomerate, but the issue with ESPN is that they have a failing business model. They don't make original content anymore. I think it was Cowboy Bobby said it. They used to make 30 for 30s. During the pandemic, they made The Last Dance. Like, that was original content. That's not stuff that, Player's Choice or any of these guys with podcasts, that's not something you guys can make. The issue is they put so much effort into now, like, these debate shows. Like, it just started off with First Take, but now, like, there's a debate show in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. Like, and there's like only so much content you can recycle that it becomes all diluted and it becomes so same feeling where everyone's just shouting about the same thing, and it's not even like a proper debate. It's just the same things like LeBron and the Lakers, the Cowboys, Pat Mahomes, Tom Brady, and people get sick of that, right? There's no there's no more people being genuine.
genuality.
Genuality, thank you. There's no more authenticity, right? It's like
Dub, what subjects on even on PC get the most views? LeBron, MJ,
That's
uh,
all recycled though.
I'm not gonna lie.
That's
The
all
thing that
recycled.
the things that gets the most views, if I'm gonna be honest, is like the shows where we're actually being out of character and arguing with each other, right?
Mhm.
So I mean, sure, like those talking points for sure, like they're gonna catch casual viewers. But if you're talking with enough passion about something not related to that, you could generate the views easily. I remember there was debates about Chilltown and
Ticket.
Ticket and Low debating
Yeah.
about the Houston Rockets and how young Sam Cassell and those boys were Robert Hurry, and that did phenomenal. So it's not really just about the topics. It's also about how much you're willing to buy into what you're talking about.
Yeah, I was gonna say that because even with like the LeBron topics, you guys on the panel, like there have been multiple debates, heated debates that are not about LeBron that gets probably just as much or even more, or same amount. Like the ticket, like when they argue, like a couple months ago when they argue about when Kevin Garnett was a defensive player of the year, that got a lot of clicks, or like all that
Yeah.
stuff, or even some of the or some of the edits on TikTok when when Mars make his takes and people hate on him, like those takes about John Stockton and Jokic takes, those get a lot of views because like it's controversial. Like you can make it about anything. It's just that ESPN, you kind of get tired of hearing a debate every single day. It's like it kind of switch it up because and it gets tiring. Like you guys probably don't like the debate every day because it gets tiring. You guys got to switch it up. That's why you guys have different shows like PC Wrestling, PC Anime.
For example, right? For example, the whole Jokic, the only people on platforms that was really debating Jokic was this platform.
Yeah.
So then a lot of our talk, a lot of our content that actually was pretty big in the past was when Ticket and Low and Mars was debating about Jokic, and that's something nobody's doing, right? So I mean,
respect my hate. Respect my hate.
Respect your hate. Much. So the thing is, it's not just about the topics. You need to make an active effort to care about other things other than LeBron and those other talking points. But in my opinion, I don't think a lot of people at ESPN they don't know. Yeah, they just don't know what they're talking about the majority of the time.
Because they have writers. They have writers and they got everything is formatted. Like this show, it's random. Like it's funny how we could go from talking about best defensive player and then AK-47 pops up and then everybody's like, oh, and then we got like a whole 3 different episodes just go for random content. Or how we talk about how Jordan wasn't good in the early 90s or how Pippen is better. Yeah, we're still talking about what they're talking about, but the way you guys can turn it into even more feed at different episodes is what makes it more compelling. So I prefer, like I said, I didn't know about Jokic until I started listening here, listening to Low, listening to you guys, because everybody was talking about Giannis, everybody was talking about Embiid, so for me, it was just like, but then when I heard y'all talk about Jokic and all the other stuff, I was like, wait, there's something I'm missing. So it's, like I said, the fact that you guys are random and the guys that you can create content within content, that's what ESPN used to do. Now they don't do that because they lost all their writers. The people they have in the front camera are just going off a script. They're not even going off of what they really know. Because think about it, like how you gonna say a player like, for example, I don't like LeBron James, but he's in the GOAT conversation for me. He's top 3. I have to give him that respect. But you got people who won't even give the respect to Kobe before he died, or give the respect to Michael Jordan. They'd be like, oh no, Jordan isn't the GOAT. So it's the same old refurbished things. Go ahead, somebody. I'm sorry.
I think they're about to just switch the business model. I think what's going to happen is that you see they just picked up Pat McAfee, so it's really just going to be. I think they're going to look at the independent content creators, and if they pulling in numbers like that, they'll throw them a bag, and they'll probably sign just like Pat McAfee did. So I think they're getting rid of just, having people on TV just to have them on TV and have people that have a following. So be on the lookout for like independent, content creators like a Pat McAfee, like a Low, like a Player's Choice, getting on syndicated television, because I don't think that it's going to be any more investing in the people don't kind of automatically have a following.
Do we know how the contract?
And this is the thing. And this is the thing, right? And this is why this is what's being like realized. Like you don't need to be like some journalist or writer or to sit here and spend years in something to prove your worth to talk about sports anymore. You just don't need that, right? So now everyone's realizing you don't need that. You don't need to put the time to do that because it's really just useless. If you know what you're talking about, you know what you're talking about. So now, I mean, that was always the qualification for ESPN. You had to fit the mold of like going to school or like doing this and doing that, being around the media for a while to prove your worth. Well, now you don't really need to do that. And people who go through that route, I'm not going to lie, you're just going to find a lot of stale, uncharacteristic types of people. And those types of people you surround across your platform all throughout for the last 20 years now. And now it's getting to a point still because nobody has character. None of them have character like that.
And knowing that is also very hard too, because we hear the route that Stephen A went through. We hear his story that he had to go through a lot. Like he had to go through school. He had to like build up the ranks. He had to like he had to go to Chicago, write for them. cover this team, cover this player, cover this player. Like people didn't like he didn't just get that. It was a lot of hard work and nowadays obviously regardless of hard work, even if you don't do it, you still gotta know what you're saying. But it's like now it's just like different routes, like what Dub said, and that's just like really life in general. There's like different options. Like if you're a kid, you don't have to go to college. You go to trade school. You can learn this. There's different venues of like setting yourself up. I think there's a lot more options today.
I was going to say technology. Most people, a lot of businesses that fail is due to lack of keeping up with the times with technology. Because to be honest, you don't even have to have all the credentials, but as long as you have a camera phone and a YouTube account or a VPN account, you can create your own content and create your own fan base that can be more localized, and more people will follow it locally than they would nationally. That's why when people say ESPN, still nationally, of course they do, because they still have the big games. They still have the contracts with the biggest NBA games, college games. So of course they're gonna have the national views. But if you look at local news, when they used to have like the Big Ten, I used to love it. They used to break down Michigan every hour a day about Michigan football, Michigan basketball, Michigan State basketball programs, and you got detailed content with the college students. Now you don't even have that. Now they're all gone.
I think the biggest thing that we're missing out on is that we focusing on the entertainment. I think that they looking at it that they can make another lane for people that's in the not so much looking for entertainment or the race baiting debates like with Skip and Shannon or just the loud talking with Stephen A. People that's looking to bet, you know what I'm saying, the betting industry, because the NFL, they made buku money off that. You know, the FanDuel TV, they got their own network now. They just had Pat McAfee. They used to get buku bread off just doing bets like that. So now they got like daily fantasy TV shows. They got best ball shows, a whole bunch of things like that they could do. And stuff like that. So I think that's a big reason on why it's.
But they tried that already with the NFL back in the 70s. I forgot the guy's name. He was a big gambler. They used to have him on ESPN. He used to do gambling like takes and stuff like that. And look what happened. So I just think honestly, technology. What the hell? Technology is moving faster than most businesses, and that's what a lot of businesses are failing. Like, let's be real. Back in the day, Apple wasn't the best company. They are now.
But how does that apply to ESPN? How does that technology apply to ESPN?
Okay, well, technology, the availability of you have to go into work. You have to pay a worker to now go into work rather than work from home. You could use, hey, I can send you this camera, and we can link you from here to there, and you don't even have to come in. So now I don't have to pay you transportation, or I don't have to pay you. That's what I mean by technology. Like,
but how does that apply to the downfall of ESPN? I don't see how that correlates at all.
Because they didn't. Okay, you could do more from home. What I mean by than actually having a business. For example, everyone has to go and check into the office. That office space, you don't need to pay for that anymore. That building, you can have people work from home, have their own little background, and then do TV shows from home to save money on office space. Also on parking, security. Also, cafeteria.
I disagree with that, Aeneas, because I think the IRL content that they do, I like it. I like the setup that they have. I wish we could do that. So it's not even about that. And even then, they do videos all the time with people who can't make the shows when they're doing other things, right? So I don't think the technology and them not adapting to working from home, it has anything to do with what they got going on at all.
I think they have adapted technology wise. You see their setups and all this stuff.
Their setups are phenomenal. I'm not gonna. I think
it's crazy. Like,
what I'm saying is as far as okay, I don't know if you guys know, but when I used to deal with it, because I used to do a lot of jobs in Jersey, a lot of the office spaces and stuff like that, you'd be paying like $5-6 million a year just for that office space. And then what happens is if you guys have a bad period or whatever, that's it. That building, you still got to pay $2-3 million. Just like look at Disney. Disney lost out a lot due to COVID. So all that money, now they got to make up later on the back end, and not everyone can afford to recover. ESPN can, but that's what I mean by you're losing out, because I've seen a lot of companies, Barclays Capital, I've worked with a lot of companies that actually had a big old building, all the technology in the world, and then a flood like Hurricane Sandy comes and destroys, and they already lost all the insurance.
ESPN, even though they lost a lot of money, ESPN makes more than enough to cover the building and expenses and everything.
What I'm saying is it takes time to recover from that. Like if you look at
I think Bob, what you talking about though is like that's not even specific to ESPN. That's like business practice in general now. Like commercial real estate is not as big as it once was. Like having a office building to come in to work. Like only companies that are well into the black are still, having office buildings. That's not even just specific to ESPN.
Yeah, because they lost $5 billion. I think they lost $5 billion in investments, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was like they were just investing in the wrong things, which is why I said if you're gonna lose $5 billion in investing, I'm not gonna lie, sign some motherfuckers from YouTube up, bro. I'm not even gonna hold you. You lost you got $5 billion to waste, bro. If you really worried about people and the views and making sure that your content could be amazing, bro, sign some of these guys as making their own name up. You got $5 billion to waste, bro. Like, you can sign tons of people, bro.
Because you know a perfect example.
Calvin Cowherd
ESPN's not that attractive though. Yes,
I mean,
I don't think they're attractive.
Y'all know who Kenny is. Kenny the
fourth. You're not attractive.
It isn't. I don't think it is because the thing is, Dev just brought up Kenny. You were talking about King of the Fourth Quarter, right?
Yeah, he's been a first take a little bit, and like on Stephen A. show, I feel like if they offer him a contract to come on the shows for a little bit, I feel like he would go on. Let me give him a good contract.
You crazy? If you crazy think that ESPN is not? What did you say again? It's not what attractive. ESPN is very attractive for anyone.
I'm talking about
money in the time.
They just got that.
I'm talking about the fact that there's someone always over you. Like I don't think a lot of people are willing to have a producer who wants you to say certain things. Do you guys really think Kendrick Perkins just decided to come up on there and say like some of the stupid shit he says on ESPN?
I think that's
No, that's not true. No, that is not true.
I think that's Kendrick Perkins. I think that's actually Kendrick Perkins sometimes.
I think you guys are overrating that that these producers are control what they say. Because bro, you know how much wild shit gets spoken on Players' Choice, bro. People are just fucking wild. This is wild. Y'all just think.
But that's different between like an ordinary dude and a guy who's like representing a company.
No, stop. Because no matter what, that's why I disagree with. No matter, and that goes to my point what I said before. No matter how much school or who you are, it doesn't matter how high of a status you are. All of us are fucked up. All of us. It doesn't matter. And we all have a fucked up way of thinking and pertaining to some type of scenarios. Some more than others. It doesn't matter how status or you're a part of ESPN or you're part of schooling. No, we're all fucked up. And I could grab a college kid with some terrible, I could grab a college kid with high degrees and he's over here being a journalist. And if I get asked for his real opinion, he probably says some wild shit too. Like, what are we talking about, bro?
Yeah, but Dub, you got to also look at it. It's a business. And at some point, you got to follow a format. You just can't always be random. Because even look at it now on Players' Choice. You guys are not allowed to talk about LeBron for so long or Kawhi Leonard because y'all guys get muted. At some point, you guys are going to start
true.
blocking.
That's not true. We talk about whatever we want. We just get tired of the conversation. I'm not gonna lie. We just get tired of it.
See, that's what I'm saying though. Instead of it going off on a different tangent like it normally would without some type of control or structure, that's the problem. Some point there's gonna be something you're not gonna want to talk about that you have to talk about.
But to be fair, Cowboy Bob, but they mute. Wait.
I need to clarify that. No, I need to clarify that. No, that's not true.
Let me finish and I clarify.
We could ramble off about anything that we feel like talking about. We just be like, no, like let's just move on to the conversation because we just don't feel like having an hour, 2 hours talking about Damian Lillard.
But you also said that the fans like it when you guys go back and forth with hot takes and y'all argue and stuff like that.
For sure.
So like I said, at some point you guys have to be in control and say, yo, we can't stay on.
Yeah, but that's different from like a producer and sitting here telling us what to do, like KSB, like KSB. No, it's not the same thing. What are you talking about? He was talking about Kendrick Perkins having wild takes, and the producer being in his ear. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about. We talk about whatever we feel like talking about, and however long we feel like having it go off.
Yeah,
we dictate it all. It's all our decision. For the betterment of the at some point, yes, for the betterment of the conversation, but it doesn't happen a lot of times. We just let stuff rock majority of the time.
Yeah, I was gonna say this, for example, I'm for cutting you off because like when the episode of Atlanta Hawks, the Capella, I think 2 gyms ago, because I'm a Hawks and we talked about the Hawks, and it was like, I was like, I don't want to talk about the Hawks no more, and we just started rambling about other stuff. Like we talked about it for like 5 minutes and this that. Like that's the episode of the show. If it was a producer, then we would have talked about that topic way longer than like 5-10 minutes. Instead, they just kind of go free. Like the whole point of the show is like open gym. Like we just go free. Like we just kind of talk like whatever. Like Dub, like he just manages the conversation. He'll jump in. He just makes sure it don't get too wild, too riled up. It's like Open Gym is literally like this. Open Gym is literally a perfect example of us like kind of like doing whatever.
But the format is at some point you guys rotate the guests. You guys do change certain and get different views. That's what I'm talking about. You guys may be freelance, but there is still some form of a structure because you still got to rotate the guests. You still got to hear other people's views. And I'm saying for ESPN, some people can't accept those rules and changes because, for example, let's just stick to Player's Choice. You guys can say whatever you want, do whatever you want. I like it, you like it, but at some point we got to move on. There's fans out there that don't want you to move on. So then you lose those viewerships where ESPN can't take that. Plus, it's also the content that they are creating. So
I don't understand the point. Right, I don't understand the point you're making, though.
My point is at some point, regardless of how free you are with something, there's a structure. Not everyone's going to abide by that structure, no matter how good of a reporter you are, no matter how good of a producer
How did that have anything to do with the Kendrick Perkins producing thing? I don't even know why you even brought that up.
I was giving you an example. Like, for example, Colin Cowherd. Colin Cowherd used to be on ESPN, but then he cut himself away from them because he even said it. A lot of the stuff he wanted to talk about and he wanted to do, he couldn't do under ESPN, so he left to do his own thing. That's what I'm talking about. At some point,
but he's still on another network on FCC Airways. Exactly. He can't really talk about anything else different. I think because Colin left around the same time that Skip did. I forgot which one left first, but they were. I think they were just both. I think they were both offered big bags to go and put FS1 on. But to the point about the producing of the show and what KSB was saying, like, oh, is it even worth it to go to ESPN and things of that nature? Being on TV daily with a good amount of audience is always valuable. Number one. Number two, I think how these deals with they just signed a pat and people like that, I think those kind of people come in with a lot more leverage because they already come with the following. So it's not even like they can't just tell McAfee that, hey, we're gonna put you on said box and this what you're gonna be doing. Because if Pat McAfee doesn't like that or agree, he can just keep doing his own thing because he's already getting hella paid from that anyway. So the idea that what ESPN needs to do is allow these people to come in and then don't, switch up their show, switch up this and that, kind of let it. I mean, of course, all shows in a vacuum have some kind of structure, but they have to let these people be these people and not just big names that they want to, put in a suit and stick behind a desk and go right back to a debate format when that's not Pat McAfee's show at all. So they need to let the independent people come that they sign to the big deals and let them rock out how they've been rocking out, because that's what's going to help them. If they try to make them conform to some BS that they weren't doing and how they got their following in the first place, then even signing the big names like that isn't going to do too much for ESPN.
Because let's say that ESPN.
Go ahead.
Let's say ESPN recruiting and they offer like Dub. Let's say they offer Dub, hey, we'll give you $10 million a year to come on ESPN for like a year or so, and then in negotiations you're gonna have some leverage because like Stephen A. Smith, he put in work. He has a lot of leverage on his show. Like, I'm pretty sure Pat McAfee gonna have a lot of leverage because it's still like. It's like ESPN knows that they are the attraction, so they kind of like it's kind of like a like let's view as an NBA team, kind of like let's say a Tim Duncan, or I'm gonna use Kawhi Leonard. Like Kawhi Leonard said, I'm not coming to the Clippers unless I get this, that, that. They're gonna conform to that, so they get that player. So like ESPN, I'm not saying fully conform to like the person they're recruiting, but I feel like they'll listen to like
right now is like this. Right now is like this. If ESPN is going to be looking for people to be on the show, then the person that they're hiring has the power, right? Because they're looking for them for a reason, so you can negotiate easier. That happened with me and this other dude. They were looking for content creators, and we have the power, so we can be able to negotiate a better price. And we could talk, and you could just come to terms about whatever you want to talk about, whether you want your standards or rules. If y'all don't come to an agreement, when somebody's offering you something, you are the one that have the majority of the power. So you need to understand that and try to maneuver between that, right? So So if ESPN is going to be doing this, they don't have to. The person like us, let's say me for example, or Player's Choice, we don't have to conform to like whatever they have going on and buying whatever system they have. We like, all right, we doing it this way. If you don't want it, then no, we're fine. We don't need y'all like that.
Yeah,
And
but then
just keep it like that.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say
that's-
is also if you start your show and let's say they cancel it, do you know that within that contract they cancel? You can't speak about whatever you guys agreed to for over a certain amount of years. You know that as well, right? So like if you have a like let's
Well,
say
that's why you read contracts and you negotiate to make sure you
I
don't have any
understand that,
loopholes
but
like
what I'm
that.
saying is some people would go under that contract and be like, "Oh, I could speak for 2 years, getting paid $10 million," but then the show gets canceled halfway. You still got to wait 2 years after the contract expires before you can speak again. So then now what do? So a lot of people
You make sure before you sign the contract, you
I
make sure you don't get
understand
into
that, but what I'm talking like, look at prime example, 30 for 30. The journalism before the first 30 for 30 series was more in depth about sports. They even talked about Tupac. They even talked about Mike Tyson. They talked about Maurice Correct. They were in depth about what they were talking about. So then when they did the next series, which was a 30 for 30 part 2, they were only allowed to do the same segments they did. And then a year later, they changed the whole format 30 for 30. It wasn't the same of what the original content was. So all those people from before, I hope you understand what I'm saying. Those people from before can no longer do what they were doing. So they lose out and they feel some type of way towards ESPN. So when they do get back on their feet and they do start doing things, they're at a competition to ESPN. So it's kind of like a double negative. I lost you, didn't I?
No, I understand. I just don't understand why you're making that point.
No, because it's the point that I'm trying to show you. Even though you have the contract with ESPN, even though you think you're good and you have good content, you could still be like pushed to the side to where it's not your fault. It's just nobody supporting your network as it used to be. For example, if PC has, let's say,
I heard what you said.
Okay, go ahead.
The thing I told
don't
you
wanna keep
before.
repeating.
The thing I told you before, though, you try your best to make sure that you're not in a contract where that happens. That's why negotiating is a thing and make sure that's not within the contract. So even though you're saying that happened to somebody else, that's why you learn from their mistakes and make sure that don't happen to you. So I don't know why you keep bringing that up when I said you have to make sure that doesn't happen to you.
Because at the time, it depends on the money in your situation. Because if you really think about it, you go to ESPN and do, let's say, 6 episodes, you get even more exposure nationally as opposed to staying local. So
that's just I know what you're talking about, but now there's just too many factors you're laying in. I mean, unless it happens, it'll happen. But yeah,
And
I'm not with a lot of the points you said.
And also, you can still have your own podcast, like if your views, like if your local views will go down, then that's why like you can still have like your own podcast, like and like still have your local audience. The reason why I use Dub as an example is like he'll be on ESPN, he'll get an international notice, but he's still on Player's Choice. He still has that local communal recognition as well. So it's like
contract.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can still negotiate, and there's still things you can do because, like, it's. I don't think you're like. There's other people that are. You're not like not allowed to talk about stuff or like.
My point is not everyone is as Dub, like you just said. You would look into it. Not everyone would look into it like that. They'll just jump on. Oh shit, it's ESPN. I'm gonna ride with it. That's why I said you guys are different because when I sit down and hear the content, it's different and it drew my opinion. I'm not arguing that I'm right, you're wrong. I agree with you. You should read the contract and you should do it. But at the same time, the way I feel is not everyone is going to be that prepared before they do the contracts and negotiations. So they end up taking the L.
I think a lot of people will. Think about it, or like I'm not saying they'll jump right into it. They just sign a contract blindly, but I'm like most definitely will consider it. Like
I'm gonna rotate.
To kind of get blinded.
And
I appreciate you guys being up here.
Before I leave, you gotta try to get Bama and Big Ops on Among Us.
Oh wait, Dub. I just want to clarify my whole thing on the Kendrick Perkins producer thing. So I didn't exactly mean Kendrick Perkins, but this is what I meant by it. I usually mean that the issue that ESPN has is that nowadays they need characters. Kendrick Perkins is a character compared to other people. Like Stephen A. Smith plays a character of himself. So what happens is these guys play exaggerated versions, and I don't think the producer tells them exactly what to say. I think they're just telling them, hey, just say something that's controversial, and that will get clicks and views on YouTube and social media, and that will drag people to ESPN. That's what I meant by when I brought Kendrick Perkins and producers up.
Hey, yo,
okay,
Doug.
I see what you were saying now. What's up, Ray?
I still disagree. I'm not gonna lie.
Hey, yo, I'm gonna need you to get low to debate me debate me because he called me a bot one time, and I'm kind of pissed off at Low. So
You're
you
being
can,
a bot.
nah, Low called me a bot one time, and I got mad at
He
Low.
calls everyone a butt.
Nah,
Literally
Not me. I ain't never been called about that nigga.
nah, he called me a bot.
You're a bot, nigga. You're
Because
a
you
bot.
agree.
You're a
Because you
bot.
agree with
You're a
him.
bot.
That's why.
Nah, that's not the
Nah,
reason.
because you're a lackey, man. You're a lackey.
You can't call your lackeys bots. I mean, that
Right.
Nah,
like
bro.
if Andrew Tate, even though Andrew Tate knows that majority of his followers are bots, he's not going to actively call them bots.
Man, that man.
We actually disagree on something. Like disagree on Giannis a lot. I'm not gonna lie. Like
I hope he disagreed that Draymond would come from the weak side and smack Shaq shit to the third bro.
that's not what I
KD
said.
tweeted some crazy shit the
I
other
didn't
day,
tweet
bro. I'm
anything.
still stuck on
Bro,
this.
you bring up. Why do you when you talk about me? Why do you gotta like over exaggerate and lie? That's what I want to know. Like,
I'm stuck on this shit,
KSB,
bro.
you be easy, brother.
You be easy too.
I'm not gonna lie though, but like about like the main topic at hand is like it's weird, man. I'll be honest. I think the reason why it's falling off because niggas just don't know what they're talking about at this point. And I think that like a lot of things are so much more accessible nowadays in terms of like obviously content creation, like watching basketball, consuming in different ways. To the point where like the niggas who used to like have like the narratives and everything in the chokehold don't have that same chokehold anymore. Like you can even look at it where like it goes hand in hand with like how media voting was versus like now where like it's a lot more like you're not looking in terms of like team wins and losses and like the whole narrative bunch. Like narrative is still a thing, but there's a lot more factors playing into it than how it was before. And I feel like that has to do with what like ESPN is going through right now, especially with like the leagues and stuff. It's just people who are making content are just like more free flowing, they're more freelance, and they have the ability to say what they want, when they want, how they feel, right? And that authenticity is like really, really good. And I think people are just starting to realize that ESPN's
They're not authentic.
like the ESPN's
They're
the
not
world
true.
authentic. Like
They're
they'll
robots.
bring on people loudmouth who will like say crazy takes, but it's not really authentic. People can tell it's forced. Like the guy was saying about like choosing topics and producers telling you what to say. Like it's true to an extent. Like they'll give you a topic and you'll be like, okay, you have to pick this person or this person. But the reasonings as to why you pick that person is still like up to you and how you make that argument. I think the people who are just up there, except for like maybe JJ Redick or like a couple other people, just don't know what they're talking about. To be honest with you, and like people just don't want to watch that anymore. That's what I see. And then like
If we be
you said what?
no, go, my bad, bro.
I said for the content creation side, I think niggas don't want to go over there because of the fact that like they have the ability to say what they want. Like for example, like people bringing up the fact that like niggas can just get their own bags by ESPN. They're like, yeah, the bag is cool, but like the ability to say what you want and how you feel like all the time and actually like just talk however the way you want to talk is like very important to people. So I think that's like worth more than some of the money that people are willing to like get from ESPN.
But KB, why is that? Why is that?
Hold on.
I
see a million. I ain't gonna.
Hold on, I think that was you, Trey Ball. That mic is insane.
Yeah, I thought I was the only one that heard that shit.
Yeah, you.
I ignored it.
I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't gonna say nothing. I'll be real.
I'll let you back up, but please fix that mic.
Nah, I think the bag is what matters, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I think like I said earlier, I think you cut the useless, you know what I'm saying? And now you can just throw 50, 60, some odd million at the bro. It's hard to turn down $50-60 million, bro.
It depends on your morals.
It's not one. I don't think
It's not just about your morals.
they're not
Y'all
gonna
make
be.
so much your morals.
That's obviously.
Have you had a $50 million contract in front of you?
But the thing is, though, like when someone's already
Have you had a $50 million contract in front of you?
Depending on what it is. Depending
Not gonna
on
lie,
what it is.
I gotta.
They gave me a $10 million contract.
But why
Say
would?
whatever they
Why
want
is the
to say.
price so steep?
Yeah,
I'm not saying per year. I'm not saying per year. I'm saying what if you get a 5-year $50 million? Like, bro, you.
I don't think.
Yeah,
honestly,
but I'm just a
that's
regular
like,
guy.
That's like
I'm
those are like anomaly
That's-
contracts.
yeah,
I don't
those
think
are
they're
like the
throwing
big
content
guys,
creators
like-
like.
But what I'm KB, I'm
average
saying that's what
ESPN.
they're gonna have to. You're gonna have to overpay content creators for them to dial back doing their own content because you have to pay
Yeah, and I'm saying,
for the money that they were already gonna make.
I agree. I think that like if they would probably do have to pay them like a lot more than what they should, but then at the same time, it takes away the fact that like you're overpaying these niggas again, and B, you don't have that like controlling factor that the media or traditional media likes to have. So like, and on top of that, a lot of these niggas who are like already established, like obviously like the Lows, the Kennys, the thinking about like the Ben Taylors, like they're already making substantial amount of money like alone, right? So to them, like making money isn't the issue right now. They just like what they're doing because they have the ability to do what they want when they want and say what they want and how they feel without like really being tarnished against them. Obviously, like kind of like on a respectful level, like not anything disrespectful, but like yeah.
But KD, like I said, bro, we see these independent. That's the new game. You don't just build up your following. You know, that's the just in case anybody doesn't want to come. But we're seeing all of these independent content creators in not just sports. We look at Joe Rogan was doing his shit by himself, but then he got like the $100 million deal from Spotify. So he goes and signs with Spotify. We just saw McAfee. Bro, these people are going to be signing with these same big time businesses. It's just going to be that they have to make room to give these people that amount of money. So I have to cut these random niggas that just be on TV just to be on TV and filling up time.
I don't know. I think like it's weird. I think I agree to an extent, but at the same time, like the NBA is still there, and I think the NBA has even its own media outlets, not even like just like connected to obviously ESPN, TNT, and whatnot. Like they can just throw bags at you specifically. Like we've seen it happen, like where Kenny, for example, or like other content creators just get thrown bags by like the NBA to like do deals with.
Wait, do we know the contract? How much they're making actually? Do we actually know that?
I don't know that, but like I'm just saying like they're throwing bags at them because like they would have to be like these are like dominant basketball content creators and like in YouTube. So like they would probably have to throw a bag at them, right? So I just think that like if you are already making NBA content, you're good at what you're doing, and you're actually climbing up in the rankings in terms of like making a name for yourself. I don't think like ESPN obviously throwing a bag at you is a great opportunity, no matter because of the money and because of like the I guess like your name
exposure
is out there because of like traditional media. But at the same time, like regular content and like direction right into the NBA is still like a very much a viable option in my opinion, honestly. And it's just like a lot easier. You don't have to really go to the ESPN route and then to the NBA route. Like you can start YouTube, you can build your content, you can build your platform, and the NBA will like recognize that if you do it right, in my opinion. So like, that's what I truly believe, honestly. I truly believe this ESPN shit is about to like die out real soon. I'm not gonna cap, like it's not looking good, to be honest.
I don't think. I think they about to throw some shit at Shannon Sharp, trying to get him over there. They just yeah. I think ESPN gonna be all right, but they got to regroup for sure. But
they got to retool. It's not a rebuild. They got to retool.
See, I just think you guys are minimizing the effect that Disney has on the other investment, how it affects ESPN. Like seriously, them like you kind of minimize them losing. Well, I think you said $5 billion. It was.
Yo, it's Disney though. They have the money.
Wait a minute. It's a conglomerate, bro. Just because ESPN makes money, Disney as an overall company is losing money. They made a big investment on their streaming service.
Disney Plus has been a show, yes, right. Correct.
And that's been a big dud for them. So to act like just because ESPN is making money, it still affects the overall business. And I think you guys are minimizing that part.
I think freaking Disney can afford to lose that much money.
Okay, if that's your mentality, then that's what me.
I mean, even billionaires ain't trying to lose billions of dollars.
That's a fact. Like they're arguably the biggest corporation in the whole world.
Well, y'all seen? I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. And then there are bigger corporations that lost less than $5 billion, and they're downsizing as well. Google, Facebook.
Speaking of losing money, did y'all niggas see Boston just lost $304 million today?
They got robbed. They're getting robbed.
You're funny.
This is
I look at the Jalen Brown. That Jalen Brown situation is going to look like Mike Conley's situation in a couple of years.
All that for a nigga that can't dribble. That's crazy.
That's crazy. At least Conley.
At least
Mike Conley.
He can dribble
That's
at
it.
least.
No, I'm saying in a sense of like, remember when Mike Conley got his extension and he was like the highest paid player for like 2 months or some stupid shit like that? I think it's going to be the same thing with Jaylen Brown, where like a couple years from now, you're going to see another player going to get his extension, going to be higher. Another player going to get his extension, going to be higher.
Oh, that losing the second and third
Nigga,
round.
if I have to pay like a peak Wembanyama 300 mil like that, like I'm not paying no.
Yet again, you're forgetting the business of basketball. The contracts are going up. They're getting better TV deals coming up. The cap is going up. It's gonna go up for like in the next another like 2 times in the next 5 years, some shit like that. So yet again,
wait, 2 times?
Well, 2 times.
It's gonna steadily go up.
It's gonna steadily go up. That's my point. My point is gonna steadily go up. All right. So
why are these TV contracts steadily going up if everybody tells me that ain't nobody watching TV no more?
Because the TV is not simply the TV. When we say TV contract, it's like a simple way of saying the TV companies. But remember, streaming is a thing too. So it all goes into one.
I don't understand why Disney has to do with ESPN because I don't know.
Perfect,
but it's
KB.
not
Perfect.
only
I'm glad you
ESPN,
said that, KB. I'm glad
it's
you
not
said that.
only
The reason is y'all dancing around the topic about Disney. Disney has an agenda, and it's watered down ESPN. If you go back to the ESPN that I knew when I grew up, when it was 2005, 6, 7, 8, it was a completely different ESPN. It's different now. The guys that they have and the women that they have now, they have an agenda that they are pushing, and they are allowing people that they pre-selected to share the message that they want to share. But Malika Andrews is the #1 flagship star on the channel outside of Stephen A. Smith. That wouldn't have happened in 2008. Period.
What agenda is this?
I'm not going to I'm not going to feminism. Like, I'm not going to get into it.
Now let's get into it. Now let's get into it. Let's get into it.
I'm not
because everyone keeps saying because everyone no stop because everyone keeps talking about it, and I would love you to talk more, but the mic is still acting up a bit. It's all right. But I do want to
put it in the chat. I'll say it out loud.
I do want to hear this agenda. I do want to hear this agenda that everyone keeps talking about.
You know the agenda, Dub. It's the soul voice.
It's not necessarily. It's just watered down. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I want to hear this agenda.
I need to hear the agenda, please.
You can't be who you were. Like I said, Stephen A. Y'all talk about characters and all this. Stephen A. is the only guy that they really allow to kind of go, ad lib and be who he really is. Everybody else is kind of the same. What's the difference between Jay Will, Keyshawn, and Kendrick Perkins? There's no fucking difference. They're the same person.
Kendrick Perkins.
They're the same person.
Listen.
What's the difference between Greeny, and Max Kellerman? There's no difference. They're the same guy.
That's not true neither. That's not true. Max Kellerman sometimes come off as more black than Stephen A, bro. Max Kellerman has said some shit that make other people be like, what? Like, come on, bro. And Greeny don't say nothing.
Y'all not hearing them, bro. Y'all not hearing them.
They're not.
We're hearing him.
They're not hearing him.
I know the agenda. I didn't know it. Like,
I know this agenda, but I've been seeing it. I've been seeing it.
So speak on it. Speak on the agenda. We're not on ESPN, bro. Speak on it.
Like, bro. Like,
this ain't my channel, man. You know what I'm
saying? Wait. Who said feminism?
I did.
Okay, explain yourself. Explain yourself then.
I've already alluded to it.
You know what I'm saying?
They're owned by Disney.
Hey, man, you know the situation with Ime, Adrian Payne. Honestly, the Ime stuff is kind of forgivable. The Adrian Payne stuff is out of whack, bro. I didn't get that at all.
What about feminism is destroying ESPN? I
didn't even say that.
Okay, you said it's agenda. You said it's agenda. So speak on the agenda.
I don't know.
Hold on. But KB knows though. KB got the good mic.
Let him answer the question.
KB got the good mic. KB, go ahead. What's the agenda, bro?
Yeah, what's
going on?
You got the good mic. You know the agenda. Speak on it.
If feminism is the ruin ESPN, that's the agenda.
Oh, nigga, that's not the agenda I'm pushing. I swear to God.
What is it about feminism?
I didn't say nothing.
Bro, Malika said WNBA players are
that's not the agenda I'm pushing. I'm not saying that feminism is ruining.
I didn't say nothing about this.
Arguing with Draymond Green in like 2 years ago. You don't remember that?
I said they're cookie cutter molds that they want people to fit in, and if you don't fit in that mold, then you're getting cut.
Are you trying to say this to be more politically correct?
What's the most though? Like what
politically correct? You and I both know that. But it's not. It's deeper than that. It's much deeper than rap. It's not.
What are
that
they
it's
looking for?
Yo,
Then?
then,
What?
then
It's
talk on
bigger
it.
than
Talk
black
on
and
it.
Speak
white.
on it.
It's
Speak
bigger
on
than
it.
Then
black
Yeah,
and
speak
white.
yeah,
on
speak
it,
on it.
then.
bro.
Again, I just told y'all. Tell me the difference between Greeny and Max Kellerman. They were the same person.
Wait,
They
you
were
think
the
I
Max
same.
we
Kellerman
well
is
we
the
just I
same as
disagree
He
on
was
Kendrick
you
a
on that.
Perkins?
I
dog,
don't know.
bro. Now you tripping. Kellerman was a dog.
You think
Exactly. Like,
Kellerman the
Kellerman was
I
same as
trash,
disagree
bro.
Kendrick
on you on that.
Perkins?
Kellerman was trash. Kellerman had no
He
nuts.
more
Y'all
blacker
can
No,
than
see.
ask
Stephen A.
ask
No,
answer
no,
me
What
the
does
no,
Did
that
no,
y'all
question.
no,
mean?
Answer
forget?
the
What does that
question.
mean? See,
no, no,
that's
Is
the
no, no,
point.
Kendrick
no.
That's the
Perkins
point.
You
That's
and
gotta,
why
you
he
got, you
got
Kellerman
gotta
off.
go
the
back. You gotta
same
go back
type
and
of
look
That's
at Max
why.
analyst?
Kellerman, bro.
That's why Max Kellerman got off so many years because of you saying just what you said. He's blacker than Stephen A. What the hell does that have to do with sports? I don't give a fuck that he spoke about terms and themes that appeal to black people. It has nothing to do with that. What do you know about basketball? Him and Green don't know shit about basketball. They did well in school. They had whatever master's degree in communications that they had. They pretty much have like the guy that came up that Doug tried to pretty much act like he didn't know what he was talking about. Maybe not in Kendrick Perkins' terms because he was an actual player, so they kind of give the players, a little more leverage. But if you come out of school and you go to ESPN, you have a cookie cutter mold that you must fit in. Like I said, Greeny and Max, they don't
All
upset
right,
the apple cart.
And
You
you want to know
talking
Give
something
about
the
funny?
bro.
character. Hold on. Wait.
Do
Wait.
you
Wait.
want
Wait.
to
Wait. Wait.
let
Wait.
me
Wait.
say
Hold on.
something?
Wait. Give the characteristics of the. What are you saying that they have to fit
you
into?
can't
What?
have
What
any
is?
nuts. That's what I'm saying. You can't have any balls. You can't
What does
say
that
again.
mean? Yo, explain. Don't just say just
Again,
buzzwords. You just saying
you
I
know,
just
buzzwords.
need
you again,
examples.
He's just saying
again,
buzzwords. He's not saying anything.
again. Like
Can
I
he
said,
say it on YouTube? I don't know.
y'all cannot
Bro,
like
y'all
Skip
not
Bayless.
hearing him. Y'all not
Y'all
hearing him.
cannot like Skip Bayless all y'all want, but the
He
shit
can't
that
be. You
Skip
don't hear
Bayless
that.
says,
No, we hear him. He's just dancing around the question,
I'm
and
not. No,
he
Nah,
doesn't have
y'all
Cause
an
he
not
did
y'all
answer
the
say it
hearing
for
on
ones
the
that was
him.
question.
YouTube.
dancing.
Are you trying to
Y'all the
get him
ones that
banned?
was
We trying to
dancing.
get him like off? Like what are you talking? What?
He don't.
Y'all the ones that was dancing. Like I said, you could not
Bro,
like
but
Skip
listen,
Bayless
they're
so
all
much
Can
as
y'all
you
let
want.
him talk? Can y'all let
But
him
I
talk?
know
I'm
every
very
time
He
interested.
I
contradicted
listen to Skip
himself, man.
Bayless, I know every time I listen to Skip Bayless, no matter how stupid and idiotic it is, it's some shit that he thought of. It's some shit that comes from his
Hmm.
heart. Period. And like I
Hmm.
said, if you sit there and listen to
You don't
Greeny,
think Skip Bayless scripted?
No, I don't think so at
I
all.
don't.
Oh
I
my
don't at all.
God.
That
Exactly.
man,
wait.
no,
I'll
that man
flip.
comes from LeBron's family. There's nothing scripted about that shit, bro.
Nothing
Yeah, yeah,
scripted
yeah,
Stop.
about him.
yeah.
The fact
There's
of
You
the
nothing
don't
matter is,
think
scripted
when
he
I
about that.
listen,
scripted out the LeBron
the
villain role?
reason,
You don't think
the
that's
reason I,
scripted?
No.
Hold
the
Oh
on, hold on.
my.
reason
So
I brought
so
up
so
Greeny
when Max
and Max
Kellerman
Kellerman,
said he want Kawhi Leonard to take not Kawhi, Iguodala to take the last shot with the earth on the line. You think a producer told him to say that shit?
bro, that has nothing to do. That's not sexy. That's not provocative. No one cares either way. That's
Nigga,
The
just
fuck?
what
basketball
is
I
talk.
cared.
this?
Hello,
This
I cared.
man.
That's basketball talk. Yeah,
It's
he
not
might have actually
sexy. It's
felt
not
that way.
provocative. This man is using
He might
buzzwords.
have actually
Speak for
felt that
yourself,
way. The
buddy.
fact
Speak for
of the
yourself.
matter is, when I say Greeny and I say Max Kellerman, they don't upset the apple cart. I'm not necessarily talking about hot takes and shit. When I said that, I'm trying to make y'all understand when I say fitting a mold. When I use specifically Keyshawn, J. Will, and Kendrick Perkins, because they're three black guys who just say fucking hot takes. Hot takes got them to where they are. They just sit up there and say hot takes. And
You
Greeny and Max, Max Kellerman, they're very even keel. They don't say nothing to really upset anybody. They don't say anything to piss anybody off. They have to be in a certain mold. Like I said, Malika Andrews is the flagship
Wow.
star. She's the
It sounds like you
flagship
just
wait,
star.
describe different people
can I have the
too.
floor for like
It
1
sounds like you
second?
describe different styles.
Wait,
You say one
Nobody
style over here
has
is
different
cookie cutter,
styles. What part
but
don't
these
you
other guys are
understand?
not.
wait,
There
can I
are no
have 1
different
second?
styles.
Wait, can I have
Yeah,
1
I'm
second
gonna
on
keep
the
it a whole
floor?
stack, bro. I was just joking with you. I genuinely don't know what you like trying to
Wait,
say right
They
wait,
now.
don't,
can I
again,
have
because you
1
won't be
second on
able
the
to
floor?
understand
I
because
do.
you're
I do.
13 years
Don't. I
old.
do.
You won't get it.
I'm
Like I
21,
said,
bro.
You're
if
too
you
young.
watch
He said you
ESPN
too
in the
I
young.
guess, bro. I'm too
early and
young, bro.
mid
I
2000s,
don't
you
know,
would
bro.
understand what I'm saying. They had
How old are
legitimate people that was
Niggas
able to
act like
say
they
whatever they
can't go
wanted to
out of their
say.
Okay.
way and
Have
go
you ever
watch
watched?
old ESPN
Have you ever watched
content.
Around the Horn back in 2009, 2008?
Those were the
yes?
best shows. They were the
That
Wait,
best
was a
can I
shows.
lot
can I
closer
Yeah,
understand
to.
real
but there
quick?
was
Can
a
I understand
different
real
era
quick?
of TV. There was a different era in America, bro.
Yes, you know
Like
why?
let's
Because
be
they wasn't
let's
controlled
be
by
honest
Disney
about this. Let's
Channel.
be honest about this. Let's be honest. We are tiptoeing right now on YouTube, bro. You think they're not gonna tiptoe talking on TV.
Exactly.
Wait. Can I understand real quick? Can I understand real quick? Let me say something real quick.
Like, I don't, nigga. What do you? Like if
What
you
are you saying?
Let me say something real quick.
Go to like Rumble or some shit. Like I don't think if you want to just speak.
People that are on Rumble are on YouTube. What are you talking about?
I don't know what he's talking about. You just
shout out to more unhinged things, bro.
So here's the hard truth. Here's the hard truth.
I'm saying, from what I understand, I think he's trying to see that back then it was more unhinged and more authentic. Like the authenticity was there, which is fine, right? I think they try to. I think the authenticity they have now is forced, and it's not as unhinged. But like
KB, you're a young guy. You're a young guy.
I just think the people are
understand
born.
what he's
That's
talking
what
about back in 2008, bro, or even earlier than that. To understand those times, you had to understand that America was totally different. You know how PC it is right now.
Yes.
There was no thing as a cancel culture, bro. You could say what you say, and people like it or they didn't like it. That was it.
But what are y'all?
Hold on. Wait, one second. I need to stop right now.
Bob, all you have to do is hold on, fam. All you have to do to not be canceled is be good, bro. Charles Barkley calls every stop. All you have to do is actually be entertained. If the joke is actually funny and people actually laugh, you won't get canceled. Charles Barkley calls every woman in San Antonio fat. He's been doing it for 15 years. Nobody gives a fuck because it's funny. If you're funny and entertaining, you won't get canceled. If you're saying off the wall shit and nobody's laughing, nobody's agreeing, nobody's giggling, then your stupid ass gonna get canceled. But if you're actually entertaining, you are not getting canceled.
Isn't funny. How is that fair?
You said what?
Understand? Charles Barkley is irreplaceable.
Tell the truth in a way that one.
What do you mean? Why is he irreplaceable? Why is he irreplaceable?
Because he's fucking Charles Barkley, idiot. He's irreplaceable.
Wow.
And he's Charles Barkley. You can't replace him. That's why he can get on TV and say what he wants. But again, who is Max Kellerman? Max Kellerman was some fucking rapper in the 90s. Like, who is, like, again, that's why.
Wait, how much viewership's gonna drop?
Is not canceled. What are y'all talking about in the chat?
Tremendously. What are you talking about?
Bro, a lot of those guys that's on ESPN that you've known for a long time, they were on there for a reason, bro. See, because the YouTube thing or the internet thing is more newer. Those guys had a fan base on the radio. Those guys had a fan base on newspapers. Those guys had a fan base for the work that they did. So to minimize the guy's opinion, like it comes from out of nowhere, because to call him just a rapper, you're wrong, my guy. Same thing with Greeny. Same thing with Greeny. The guy who's trying to throw under the bus. Same thing with Greeny. The same thing with Mad Dog. Same thing with those guys. Those guys had an audience, and it came with an audience, bro. So to act like these guys come out of nowhere, and they appeal
for the people in the chat, you don't think Charles ESPN has offered Charles Barkley. He didn't accept because he said them niggas over there working too hard for that little money.
Only person on there not replaceable is Stephen A.
ESPN wants Charles Barkley on there saying all that flagrant shit he be saying on TNT. They want him on ESPN saying it too.
So I would like to say this. I see where Trey's coming from, but I'm not gonna say it's like an agenda from like they're pushing, because whenever I do see them talk about basketball, I don't see any types of like agendas being pushed too heavily.
Again,
I think
you're not here. Like, you're not hearing me.
Wait. Let me finish my point, because I do agree with you, because they're getting guys from schools, they're getting guys from college. You got to be a certain way, you got to fit a certain mold and criteria. I do agree with that. That's why I said in the beginning of the show, you have to prove yourself. You have to be in that college realm. You need to sit here and be a journalist or take some time into like being an athlete. Like, you need to fit that type of mold.
But that's always been the case. That's always been the case.
Hold on, let me finish. And with people who fit that mold, a lot of people who come from that realm, they have those ideologies of feminism. They have those ideology of, you know, what they talk about that Disney promotes, right? So I hear that agenda, but I don't think that's really something being pushed from like the whole platform.
Again,
it's just more of it's a response of who they're grabbing from and where
again,
they're
grabbing.
Wait, hold on. Let me go. Here, about like, they need a cookie cutting mode. Most of media throughout history have been gatekept through the select few of people. This is not a new thing. Acting like it's just a new thing is crazy. The media
I feel like we're going to land in Kyrie Irvingville.
The media depicts the culture around the society. In the 90s, there were certain groups of people that wasn't even allowed on air. You get canceled. Cancel culture was always a thing. You get canceled, and you have a certain sexuality on air. There was always cancel culture. Y'all keep trying to make this like a huge thing because the culture has shifted since like the 2010s, 2000s. It's crazy because it's always been a thing. The culture always shifts, so the media shifts with the culture, and the culture is right now. It's not just PC, and quote unquote feminist, the buzzwords that a lot of people want to use. A lot of people that actually don't understand because y'all look like you're just talking out your ass
it's
right
going
now.
way over your
Y'all
head.
don't
It's
actually
going way over your
understand what
head.
y'all actually talking about.
It's going way over your head.
Then
Agenda
please
is
be
It's not
direct,
going
He
in
not
my
bro.
top 10.
head.
That's all. He
It's
not
not
top
going
10.
in my head.
Please be direct, man.
again, agenda, the word agenda is going way over your head. When I say cookie cutter mold, I said you have to fit a certain criteria in terms of the way you think. Again, a guy like Ticket, who is wildly fucking entertaining. Man, Ticket can't never be on no nationally syndicated show because they don't know what the fuck he might say. He can't be on a nationally syndicated show.
I
It's
know.
always been the
Yeah,
case. I'm
A
telling
guy like
you.
listen, just listen. A guy like Greeny,
it's
a
crazy.
guy like Max, I bring these guys up because they're easily controlled. If I tell Max what the fuck to say, he's gonna go on there and say it and articulate it well. Again,
And
I'm
here's
not
where you're
necessarily
wrong.
talking about
Welcome
feminism.
to the media.
And
Welcome
here's
to
where
the
you're
media.
wrong,
I'm
bro.
not
Media
necessarily
controls
talking
things
Let
like
him,
about.
that.
yo,
That's
y'all
fine.
keep interrupting him. Let him
That's
finish,
fine.
bro.
I'm not talking about feminism or liberalism. Like I said, that's like undertones. I'm speaking on the fact of the matter that you have to fit in a certain mold. They have to know where you would be able to go. They have to be able to pick your mind and know where you would go. The only person that I would say on ESPN that's semi-free is Stephen A. And they only give him that leash because of the seniority he's built in the company. Like I said, I speak on the early 2000s and mid 2000s because none of those guys are around anymore because they don't know what the fuck those guys might say. The fact of the matter is, ESPN has took a nosedive because, like I said, there's no individualism. Y'all can't tell me the difference between the three guys that I told you: Jay, Will, Max, and Keyshawn. What's the difference? Be honest. What's the difference?
I don't watch them.
I can tell you the difference between Kendrick
Tell me.
Perkins and
Tell me.
freaking Max Kellerman.
Can
Tell me the difference.
I tell you the difference between the three?
Yes,
Go
sir.
ahead.
All right, because the persona that they give off on a TV show is different. See, now when you talk about Jay Will is the more like this more let's just say the corporate guy, right? He's a more on TV. He speaks better. Now, when you speak about like a guy like Keyshawn, he's more the down to earth guy. He's not going to give you the cookie cutter answer per se, like how you're saying. That's the thing to me
But they're
when it
not
comes to those
upsetting
guys.
anybody, though.
Now, at the end of the day, now what I wanted to bring up when you talk about a guy like Ticket, right? A guy like Ticket being on ESPN, he will have to prove to them, because I've heard Ticket even speaking on this, that he has to turn out opportunities because how the way he speaks and how he does things. And this is, like I said again, we're tiptoeing on the internet. This is TV. Now, a guy like Max Kellerman, they know that a guy like Max Kellerman, through the work that he's done on radio, right, that he can get animated, get in depth, and say a lot of things that matter without crossing FCC guidelines, bro. Because we're speaking on TV things. That's
Okay, thank you for bringing that up. Ticket doesn't have the
What do y'all think
ESPN
I'm
problem.
speaking
He has
on?
an
I'm not saying say
FCC
some
Airways
crazy
problem.
shit.
Them two different things.
I'm not saying
Yeah,
say some
but
crazy
like I
shit,
said, I
bro.
was addressing this Ticket part. When it comes to professionalism, because it seems like we're having a problem with that. We're having a problem with being professionals and being able to say things and articulate yourself in a professional manner on
You could do
TV,
both.
bro.
You could do both.
Remember this for the guys who are old enough. Remember that he worked with Chris Broussard. Now he got the podcast with Chris Broussard, the other black guy. I forget his name.
Rob Parker.
There we go. Remember when the Rob Parker said the thing about RG3? Remember that?
Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah,
you know how many
You just
you
cooked
know how
yourself. You know why?
insensitive that shit is to say to somebody that he's
Guess
been
what?
calling him an Oreo, bro?
Guess what?
You know how
just
many
cooked
other ways
yourself.
you
You know why?
can say that? That's
You
crazy
just
for you
cooked
to
yourself
say.
because Rob Parker is an educated guy. And guess
Yeah.
what? ESPN will never have his ass back. Jason Whitlock, ESPN FS1 will never have his ass back. It's a
But
reason.
Jason Whitlock is another one, bro.
And
He's
I'm not even
another
speaking
one.
about his politics. Don't even go there. I'm not even speaking about his politics. I'm just
But
speaking
the
about
thing
what he
is,
might say on TV.
right. You have to be professional, bro. This is a company. This is not just
That's
you.
still professional. You can those. I won't say those guys are unprofessional. Those guys went to college, and those guys have degrees in
The
communication.
things they have said on national TV are
Are
unprofessional.
offensive.
When you
They're
attack people,
offensive.
They're
when you
offensive
have
to
attacked,
you.
when you
They're
have
offensive
attacked
to you.
people on a personal level, when it comes outside of the sport, that is highly unprofessional, sir.
Right.
And then, like I said,
I
there's a
mean,
company that got to stand behind it, not just one on one. See, it's
Right.
different when
because
you're
You
on
got
your YouTube
sponsors.
channel
You got
and you're
everything.
making your own opinions, bro. When you're on your own YouTube channel, you make your own opinions. Somebody can just attack you. But now, when you're seeing things on a network, that's totally freaking different, bro.
But
That's
it's
entirely
because
different.
it's ran by Disney, though, bro. You have to understand when they were just
Yeah,
their
and that
flagship
matters. Bro,
ESPN.
you
When
got
they were
see
ESPN,
It's not just Disney though; it's the sponsors though as well.
you guys act like you guys don't work. Yeah. Have you ever been in any type of corporate setting?
Right. You represent
I
that
agree,
company.
bro. I agree. I'm not disagreeing with you or Tyson, but that's what I'm saying. That authenticity, when that was lost, a lot of people said, you know what, this shit is
You
boring.
could do that. Bill sponsors back then.
Yeah, it was the same shit. They had all the
No, it
same
wasn't the
rules
same. It wasn't
on
the same,
TV
bro.
back then.
Yeah, you can get away with more stuff because political correctness and stuff. I understand
You lagging
that, but at the
OD.
same time,
Hold on, Ty. You are lagging OD. And then somebody's driving? What the hell?
am I still lagging, Doug?
No, you're good now. Somebody was driving, bro. If you're driving, please keep on mute. But go ahead, Ty.
No, I'm just saying it was like that back then, bro. It was like that when people, when the guy on NFL said that black people were had a extra bone in their knee will make them fast or something like that. I forgot old boy's name. He got fired for that.
We're talking about the Twitch muscles.
Yeah, the Twitch, whatever he said. Yeah, he got fired for that. You just can't go on there saying random stuff, bro, educated or not.
You're going further than I'm speaking on it, bro. I don't mean going completely to the right and speaking about politics and offending people based on race. I'm just saying, like I said, I skipped.
Well, that's what Jason Whitlock was doing.
Well, again, I'm saying him in general. I'm not talking about his politics because I believe he could have been able to go on ESPN and talk about sports. But the fact of the matter is, I don't think you can control a guy like Jason Whitlock or Rob Parker. Or I can't think of anybody else right now. I can't think of the older guys that was in the era of like 2008, 7, and 6.
You defended Jason Whitlock though, because Jason Whitlock was wild.
I just said I'm not talking about his politics at all.
Who are you talking about? Who are you talking about?
I can't think of the guys from the early 2000s. A lot of them are gone. Like the guy.
But let's be real, my bro. Let's not act like you missed Jason Whitlock's analysis on basketball or football, bro. Like let's not act like you missed the commentary on that.
Listen, I miss authenticity. Y'all talking about characters? That's bullshit. There are no characters on ESPN. Just getting on ESPN like Kendrick Perkins and saying random hot takes, that don't make you a character, bro.
They are characters. They are characters. Mad Dog Russo is a character. Stephen A. Smith is a character.
But yeah, he comes on once a fucking blue moon, once a week.
Well, who are you talking about? That's not a character. Kendrick Perkins is a character, bro. That's why they're
just bad at their job. I think they're complaining. Like, them niggas boring.
This shit don't have no substance. He just says hot takes for fun. I don't find Kendrick Perkins to be no character. Every time Kendrick Perkins talks, he has a hot take, and y'all take that as he's a character. This shit has no substance.
Wait, so y'all telling me that's the reason why y'all don't watch ESPN is because of the character problem, not because of what they're saying?
I don't know.
There's no authenticity. That's why.
Hey, dude.
Look, if those niggas were just saying that, I have a question.
That's why, because the shows aren't good. Even when
niggas were just saying terrible takes and like legitimately were just funny and just saying bad takes without watching.
Exactly. Yes, but when the last time Charles Barkley gave a sound basketball opinion? I still watch Inside the NBA. What the fuck?
No, I get that. I get that, but I'm saying like that's what I'm asking. Like, would y'all still like watch?
People enjoy
it's gotta be entertaining. Them niggas, I think he's complaining they're boring to like they're in a box. No, them niggas just boring. Like they're bad.
They're in a box.
The thing is though, real talk, hold on. To counter your point, I feel like inside the NBA, especially, is like it's not like a lot of time. Like you have pregame, then you have halftime, you have postgame, and they're there for like a little bit. ESPN has like segments and it's predicated on like legitimately debating. So like That's why I think like it's a lot more like soft core in terms of what Inside the NBA does, because you're just watching the game and they're just like talking about the game.
It's more informative. Yeah, it's more informative.
And like they're legit like pushing it out. Like ESPN's like
more
pushing out
The only
debating.
time it's informative is when Timmy Legler gets on. That's the
TNT
only
Inside
time
the
it's
NBA.
I like Tim Legler, actually. I do like him.
That's the only time it's informative. Whoever said it's
Yeah, I
informative,
like
that's
him.
bullshit.
I do.
I'm saying it's more predicated on that. It's more predicated on that.
Is the producer in his ear too?
It's not a debate show.
Again, Timmy Legler is informative. Seth Greenberg is informative. Those guys are informative. Everybody else, like I said, they are playing a pseudo character on TV because they can't play the character that they wanted to. Like I said, I believed in the early 2000s and the early 2010s, you could get on ESPN and you had a little more creative control over what you said. I don't believe you have that creative control now.
I think people are just like
I disagree. I disagree with that take.
I'll be honest, I think niggas just want niggas to see unhinged shit.
You making a take? How am I wrong, brother?
You're wrong. I mean, it's not for you to agree or disagree. You're absolutely emphatically wrong.
Well, Nick, you can't even name who got on there and just freestyle what they wanted to say and didn't have a producer telling them what to say.
Tyson, you didn't watch ESPN in 2007, 8, 9. I'm only 25, and I remember that shit growing up, going to school.
Remember what, bro?
Wait, nigga, you're only 25 telling me I didn't
right.
watch. Nigga, what?
So somebody's 41 years old. I didn't watch ESPN.
I've been growing up watching ESPN since
me too. I fell asleep to Sports Center and that stuff, bro. I watched that shit every day. It was the only thing out.
Yo, Dub, you know what I realized? It'd be the niggas that even grew up in that time telling you you'd even grow up to watch.
Right. Like that's crazy.
You took that your young shit to heart.
Nah, nigga. Nah.
I'm trying to understand, like, what was the characters you're talking about that got on there and just freestyled or whatever you're saying?
You're gonna tell me?
Berman, you talking about Berman? You talking about Stuart Scott? Who are you talking about?
Well, Stuart Scott was a great example, but you're telling me
Stuart Scott was in. Oh my God! Okay, bro.
You think Stuart Scott was cookie cutter? You think Stuart Scott?
Tyson, he don't know, Tyson.
Stuart Scott got on there because of his catchphrases and how he appealed to a black audience and said things that were like, said things that were catchy, like the little hip hop terms from the day.
Listen. He was a character, but he had substance to the shit he said. Like. He wasn't.
First of all, Stuart Scott got on there. He was on SportsCenter. He broke down clips, bro. He talked about clips and highlights. So what are you talking about? He did SportsCenter. He was a SportsCenter anchor.
Bro, he spoke about chatting right now.
Yeah, you chatting right now, bro. And you just sitting up here calling people wrong.
I'm chatting. So okay, I want to ask one more question, Tyson.
The nigga's 25. He doesn't remember, bro. Like,
Tyson, do you think? My question is, do you think that ESPN from the early mid 2000s, kind of in the early 2011, 2012, do you think it's the same as now? That's all I'm asking.
No, of course it's not the same. It's different. Debate shows, right?
Okay, listen. Was it better back then?
Debate shows
better back then.
That's a matter of opinions, bro.
Yeah, it's a matter of opinion. Debate shows have changed.
I'm asking him his opinion.
I like I said, I think the sports shows were more informative back then, and they broke down highlights. I think they didn't. Hold on, bro. Can I finish?
Yes, you can.
What the hell? All I'm saying is they were more informative, and I'm saying debate shows didn't rule the day like they did. And then you had you had what's the dude from Fox now? Skip Bayless doing cold pizza and then type of shows, but they weren't as provocative. They're more provocative now. People yelling on there, people going back and forth.
He never watched Cold Pizza.
He never watched Cold Pizza, so he don't even know what I'm talking about. But all I'm saying is the shows were more cookie cutter back then. Now it's got people on there saying now you got people saying on here coming up with wild takes, saying a bunch of bullshit to get views and likes, because that's how stuff is changed.
But it's bullshit that has no substance though.
That's fine, but you're saying it's more cookie cutter now.
Well, wait, Trey. I would like to say something. I think the easy way to explain what you're seeing, I don't really think is it even I just think that more and more people, like as the years progress, has just became less and less independent of thought, mainly because there's so many social media outlets, there's so many things that you go off, so there's a lot more bots because of that. Rather than back in the day, we didn't have, not we, but I did grow up in that time, but back then they didn't have that, so they had to rely on their own independent type of thought. They had to rely on their own point of view. their own state of mind and try to break it down and not just hop off of, oh yeah, this guy on TikTok said this, so or this guy on YouTube or this guy on Twitter, this guy on ESPN said it made sense, so I'm gonna copy what he said and copy what his flow. That's why there's less independent thought. It's not mainly about the agenda. I think it's just more about the culture and the times changing, and now more people are just listening to whatever else.
Agenda might be the wrong word. I think things are just more palatable now. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, dude.
I agree. I agree with a lot of what you're saying, but I don't think it's like some hidden agenda. I just think that's where the state of the culture is being set, just in general, in all aspects, not even just basketball. And I just think that there's just less and less people having independent states of minds and just hopping off and
you think with more independent media, there's less independent talk?
You said what?
You think?
I don't agree with that.
More independent media now. You think there's less independent thought with more independent media?
Well, when it comes down to culture, it can be, because we're looking at it now with the PC culture that we have now. Remember, we still tiptoeing on YouTube. But God told us if you want to listen to some real shit, go to Rumble. Listen, just think about that, because it's a culture that we live in, bro. Now I agree with you. The what he said don't really. It kind of don't make sense.
It's like this. It's like this.
That's how.
It's like this. It's a social media, right? We're gonna be brought and broadcasted way more. So of course you're gonna see a bit more different points of views. But then those guys who has their own platform with different points of views, you're gonna have multitudes and multitudes and multitudes of people just copying and pasting whatever they're saying just because they sound smart. So even though there are more like individual creators, right? There's even more people just copy and pasting whatever they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
It works. That's because of social media. That's because of technology. Now everyone just.
I disagree with that.
I think just off the pure logic of the fact that there's more individual content creators that create their own look. There just has to be more individuality in terms of content creation. I think those two just go hand in hand.
Where was the pushback on Michael Jordan that the pushback LeBron gets in the 90s?
Exactly.
None.
Well, I mean, it just wasn't as big then. That's
you want to know why? But do you want to know why, Tyson? Because Jordan was really that fucking good.
No. Let me tell you why.
Let me tell you why. Because there's a guy. No. Let me tell you why. Because there's a guy in the NFL right now, Patrick Mahomes, where everyone is dick riding him because he's so good at football, and nobody has.
But you can still find an opposing view. You can still find people that say Brady is the GOAT. You can still find people that say whoever is a better football player. They say he's an Andy Reid merchant. They say he's an Andy Reid merchant. They say this. They say that.
Let me tell you something, Ty. Ty. Fucking Patrick Mahomes and what he's doing right now. Everyone's dick riding off that dude.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are. Everyone's
That's not true. My simple point is, can you find pushback on the internet for Patrick Mahomes?
And people say this. People say this all the time. Doug. As a talent, everyone says, and it's agreeable as a talent because Tom Brady has the rings. But there's so many people that say as a talent, Patrick Mahomes is the best.
It is a lot of people that say that. I agree, but can you find pushback if you want to?
Tyson.
Yeah, you could.
I agree.
Right, and I'm saying you couldn't find that back in the day. All you can find was everybody saying Michael Jordan is this, and this.
You couldn't.
Huh? It would be very hard because all you had was a newspaper and sports shows.
Before MJ was winning and shit, and even until he got that three-peat, that's when everyone was on that. It's his type of time. So Patrick Mahomes, the reason why Patrick Mahomes gets a bit more pushback now is mainly because he just didn't win enough yet. I guarantee you, once he goes on his run and the rest of his careers.
My point is,
no, because MJ was getting scrutinized in the beginning of his career as well, similar to what Patrick Mahomes is going through. But you still have multitudes and multiple people.
Similar to what Patrick Mahomes is going to?
Yes. What the fuck you just told me right now?
I disagree a little bit, but you got it.
MJ
I understand MJ was getting pushed back, but
MJ in year 6, MJ in year 6, in year 7.
I understand what you're saying. He was getting a little criticized of playing a brand of basketball that he was a shot, shooting up too much.
So you're helping
I got you. I got you.
So the same little bit of people that you found at that stage of his career, and Patrick Mahomes having the same thing, bro. What you talking about?
Patrick Mahomes is having. I'm saying now it's more widely spread. It's easier to find. It's at your doorstep. Whereas then, how would you even?
Social media. Because of social media.
Agreed. That's all I'm saying. That's why we have more independent thought. That's all. That was my whole point.
No. I'm saying that independent thought was already there. It wasn't accessible because we weren't as
exactly.
So exactly. You're helping my point, Ty. What are you talking about?
How am I proving your point?
Because I said with social media, now there's more things getting put on a scale.
Right, but you're saying, but I was pushing back to the people who were saying there's less, they didn't have those agendas back then or whatever. You didn't have those outlets. I'm saying LeBron James is the most polarizing player ever because of social media era.
My bad. What you said? My screen just turned black. What you said?
I said LeBron James is the most polarizing player ever because of social media and all these people having independent thought. People can get up here and say that LeBron James honestly, is on PPE.
You want to know why? You want to know why people are so conflicted on LeBron James? It's because, oh man, I'm about to be fucking nasty because he did not dominate the way MJ did.
Well, why? Does that have anything to do with PPEs? No. Does that have anything to do with PEDs? PEDs, I'm sorry. PPEs.
Well, guess what? There is some. Oh my God, you're about to make me get nasty, but this what it is. We're here because there is some evidence that could support and could have that could have.
That's my point.
No, stop. There's There's evidence. There's evidence of it that you could be like, all right, I could see that as a possibility.
Okay, what major news outlet has reported LeBron James is on PEDs?
Go ahead. Go ahead, Doug.
I don't know. I don't read the news
yeah.
Exactly. You have to go to the dark places on the internet to find this type of shit. You got to go to a Chael Sonnen. You have to go to a Chael Sonnen podcast to find this shit. This is not public.
Professionalism on
nobody professional is coming out with this stuff.
Thank you.
Wait, what's your point? What are you even talking about? Because now, wait, stop. Because you went from the point, oh, LeBron James is so polarizing, so but everyone's conflicted and and now you're talking about LeBron James PEDs. And
my point is that had heavy traction on the internet, right?
Yes.
And my point is, if somebody came out and said that about Michael Jordan in those times, it wouldn't get the same traction because no major media outlet is reporting it.
Stop, Ty. No, it's because the internet and the access. That's why.
That's what I agree with you. I agree with you.
Tyson, when Chael started, go.
Because I don't understand. I don't understand what you're saying because if the internet was alive in that time, like you're using this as a point to like give LeBron a cop out of everyone being so.
I'm not giving them a cop out.
Give me a second.
Okay, but you misquoted me.
Back in the day, if the internet was acceptable for Michael Jordan, I will put so much money. So much, probably my whole fucking bank account that they would sit here and try to nitpick and find some minute details to discredit.
We're arguing
MJ.
the same point. I don't understand what we're saying here. We're arguing the same point.
No, because you're talking. I don't understand what you're saying because you're talking about LeBron James being so polarizing, everyone being so split. Like, what? Why did you even bring that up in the first place?
I'm saying now you get more than just what the media narrative is. You get people individual thought of people saying, oh, based on this and this, I think LeBron James is on PEDs, and that can get so much social media traction that everybody knows about it. Back in those days,
ESPN though, we're talking about from a corporate perspective though. We're talking about ESPN though.
But I'm saying these narratives can be out there. And everybody knows about it, and those type of things. Everybody has ears to that, but before there was no ears to that. So the media controlled just those basic things that the media was talking about. Control the airwaves and shape people's thoughts on players. Nowadays, you would have even more pushback on those players back in those days. That's just my point. So independent thought is at an all-time high, is what I'm saying.
Not from a corporate perspective, though. I agree with you on like the shit that we're saying now, but not from a corporate perspective. What are you talking about? ESPN makes narratives about people every day.
Yo, bro, Ty, what the hell are you talking about? My whole point was the fact
go
that
ahead.
there was probably people back then who probably thought that way. You didn't hear shit about it because
Right.
those people didn't have an access to create content.
Agreed.
And then you're using the media, and it wasn't out there like that. Well, guess what? The media don't talk about LeBron James using PEDs as well.
Exactly.
So the difference isn't the independent thought. The difference is accessibility, and that those people
100%.
who do have independent thought can put it out there. What are you talking about, bro?
No, I agree with that. But I'm saying you guys said it's. I didn't understand your point of saying I came in late, so I might have missed some of y'all stuff y'all were saying previous. All I was saying is as everything is accessible now, everybody has an opinion, and these views go to them. These points go to the masses now, and before they didn't. So even though ESPN might not be pushing those things, they're still getting in everybody's ear, whereas previous they weren't. That was my whole point.
Dub, how does that? But Dub's original point is that there's more group think now. But you just said there's more. We can hear the independent thought more, right? Because of the stability. So how is there more?
So I'm saying back then, those independent people, those independent thoughts that Trey was talking about was already there. It's just they didn't have as much audience because there was no platforms to go off. So now those people have a voice to voice their opinions. And guess what? Now what they do is, because people love dick riding in this generation, it's ridiculous, but that's always been a thing. But now you have more and more people following those independent thoughts because now it's more accessible. So you got bots from PC, you got bots from Low, got bots from Let's Keep It a Buck. You just got different bots. It's just different avenues and different independent things.
But it wasn't more independent thought, Dub, because how would they have access to the information?
Hey, Dub.
Because they would just sit here and actually research the shit that's on their own time.
How would they research it without the internet?
You don't even newspaper articles, bro. Researchers.
But that's what I'm saying. They weren't in the newspaper articles. That's our point.
No, Tom, I'm talking about interviews with the guys. Going to the game. No, wait. Going to the games. Having interviews.
That's a very small amount of people, though.
Oh, Ty, I'm just saying that there was independent people who thought back then. They just didn't have the access back then.
No, see, that's the difference, because they didn't have the information to have independent thought. You don't have the information to have independent thought, Doug.
But that's irrelevant though, Tyson, because you can't say that shit now on TV.
How do you know that they didn't? How do you know that they didn't have the information?
Where were they getting it from? We were getting our information from.
I just told you.
Hold on, real quick, Doug. We're getting our information from people who have voices on the internet. And people and the internet clippings from random people, all these different things. That's where we're getting our information. If you didn't have access to that information, you couldn't have an independent thought, because all you're getting is the TV and the newspaper.
Ty, it's just a different. No, it's just a different. It's just a different perspective, Ty. El God could sit here and watch the same game as you, but think completely differently. So he could probably be one of those guys. Oh yeah, Phil Jackson. Michael Jordan's just a Phil Jackson merchant. He's a Scottie Pippen merchant. But whenever he would talk about things like that, he was around people who loved MJ, so he couldn't find his own audience. There's people who sit here interviewing some players, seem to interview some other guys, or actually talk to some NBA basketball players about Michael Jordan, his deep, dark secrets. He couldn't air that out because the majority of people he was around were MJ guys. Because it was more local. Everything was more local, and locally he couldn't find nobody that could probably resonate with him. While now we could resonate with people from UK, from fucking Australia, from India, from halfway across the country, and we don't need people in our local area to agree with us because there's so many people that we can reach. I'm saying back then they probably had their own and formulated their own opinions. It got shut down because they couldn't broadcast.
His mic muted, my bugging.
Yeah, he cut out.
Just mute the mic. Mute
you were cooking and then your mic cut out.
Hey, Doug.
Yeah, I disagree somewhat. It was no people in the UK. Like, they didn't know. Only everything they got is filtered, is what I'm saying. Everything you got back in those days was filtered. Everything you received was from an NBA lens or from a newspaper lens. That's the only thing you had. So nowadays you're getting unfiltered people's thoughts. That's the only difference.
Do y'all hear me? No, you're not listening to. I'm not talking about just the UK. I'm talking about even in America. There's people I could there's people I could connect with in California that probably resonates with my opinion that I wouldn't have without the internet. All I'm saying is those people back then who had their own train of thoughts and own states of minds, they couldn't sit here and broadcast it like that because locally the people they were around will probably shut it down. Like, no, you're crazy for saying that. Now we have the internet where we could have an independent thought process, and even just across America, there's just people that could sit here and be like, "Yo, I fuck with this guy. What he's talking about makes some sense. Cool."
I agree with you.
That.
I agree with you to a certain extent, but all I'm saying, you need information, unfiltered information to formulate these opinions at times.
The Phil Jackson and Scottie Pippen thing, there was probably somebody who thought back then.
I'm sure it was, Dub. I'm just saying it's just harder to get information. Period.
That's unfiltered information. That's general information.
So Tyson, are you saying that information comes from like
Krause?
now?
You talking about hold on, Dub. First of all, you talking about on the court type of stuff. I'm talking about off the court type of stuff, things that happen in locker rooms, the Draymond punch, the thing, all those things.
That's why I simplified it to just a guy making the narrative about how MJ relied
that's
on
fine.
Jerry.
I understand that. Like on this court stuff, you can see, but a lot of stuff that we can't see, a lot of stuff that I'm saying gets to the masses that never would have got to the masses, help you formulate your opinion of these basketball players, right?
But that right there, that narrative that I'm spewing, that's something from just watching the play.
Sure, that's fine. People always had those. Sure, I agree with that.
And the people that sit here and had those arguments will probably get shut down because because community is powerful. If you can't find your community that resonates with you, it's harder to promote that narrative.
I agree.
And they couldn't find that. It was probably back in the day, you couldn't find that because those people constantly got shut down by the MJ stands. While now you can have that opinion, and even though a lot of people will probably disagree with you, there's about 500 people that agree with me.
Like the Last Dance, for example. Look how much stuff on that show was revealed to the world that a lot of people may not have known. A lot of people didn't know about. You know what I'm saying? Just look at that. And when LeBron does his Last Dance, you're gonna say, "Oh, I remember that. Oh, I remember that." Instead of it being new information that we didn't get from the 80s and in the 90s, it's going to be like, oh yeah, I remember they was talking about that on PC.
Wait,
you know what I'm saying?
I'm tripping. Wait. I'm tripping. Wait. Last point. I'm tripping, but you talked about the cheating shit. This motherfucker MJ was gambling. They put that shit way out of proportion by how he killed his father. Like, what are we talking about? They did the same thing.
That's true. That went public. That was very public. Sure. That's one. I'm just saying. That's one incident. That's one incident.
Public. They had a whole book about when they gambled back then.
Hold on, fellas.
Right.
Okay.
A book.
Tyson, let me fight what you're saying. Okay. I was born in Africa. And I moved to America when I was a child. Okay.
Okay.
We was hearing that stuff in Africa, in Kenya, where we didn't have TVs. Okay.
Y'all was hearing what?
We was hearing about Michael Jordan and the gambling scandals back then.
From where?
We was hearing about that. Okay.
No. I'm asking you from where? Where were you hearing it from?
Okay.
If you didn't have a TV, where were you hearing it from?
So we would go. So this is gonna be bad because obviously in American culture, right? So me and I go with my dad to like the bar because that's the only way he could watch the NBA.
So you would hear about it on TV.
Anybody who got kids know whether you're doing anything, your kids are just watching you. So that's all I did. I just watched my dad and they'd be talking about it. Obviously, they didn't really know the game. You couldn't really understand how the game was played, but you just watched MJ and you were like, yo, this is crazy. So of course we heard about the gambling stuff. Of course you heard about that stuff. And we
from American TV, though.
Heard about it through the TV, my brother.
Listen. Okay, just because you get the information doesn't mean you have to interpret it exactly as the information is given to you. How many times have we watched Skip Bayless say something wild about LeBron, and we all take it different ways? We all take that different ways. Or Rob Parker, how he talks about Tom Brady to the point he even attacked his kids.
But them reporting on the game is different than adults taking for the information for what it is.
But this is what I'm saying, okay? To look at how me and my father did it before we moved over here, okay? My dad, he's a very family-oriented guy. So, of course, my dad was like, ain't no way, even if Jordan was gambling like that, because obviously we couldn't really tell. We didn't even know what I didn't know what Atlantic City was till I moved here, okay? So we didn't understand that. Okay, let me see. My dad was so family-oriented. There's no way he'd be like, ain't no way Michael Jordan could do something that would put his father in jeopardy. So, me being young, I'm not smart enough or mentally capable enough to form my own opinions. But when we moved here and the evolution of more information, you learn from that. My dad and I still talk about this to this day. He's still like, ain't no way. And I'm like, hey, ain't no way Michael Jordan would have done anything to put his father in jeopardy. But I'm like, look at how he was gambling.
That's
Look at how he
his
was
fandom,
doing.
but that's his fandom speaking
Yeah,
now.
that's what I'm saying. But me, I'm sitting there like, I guess you could say I'm his devil's advocate. I'm like, you can't say when in the Last Dance documentary they're talking about Jordan was, what is it, the mark that they would bring him on and they be getting all the money from him when they go golf or whatever. I'm like, you can't say that without certainty. All I'm saying is that as a man, especially who grew up, I'm not saying I was the lowest of the low. I had a good enough life for where I was in Africa and Kenya. But I know that we was getting information then too. Obviously, there's no way like somebody right now in France is watching me speak right now. So obviously they're gonna take the information that I just said differently. So that's why I mentioned in the super chat I just said that y'all not talking about the evolution of media enough, let alone the rules that Disney has to abide by. Also, the terrible decision Disney has made as a company, whether or not it's to throw all their money into Star Wars, and that messed up. And believe it or not, Star Wars is more profitable to Disney than ESPN is.
ESPN, good call.
So ESPN has to take all those arrows for the bad decisions that they made, whether or not it's to not take a break after that first part of Marvel. What is it, Endgame? After Endgame ended, and they just went, get on Disney Plus, watch all these shows. ESPN has to take those arrows. The only thing ESPN is valuable for now is the fact that they still have live sports. And thank God that that all the leagues know that ESPN, that they can still like, oh, we just do all our things to live sports. Because if the NFL one day is like, you know what, we're just gonna do everything. We're gonna get all the cameras, we're gonna do all that, and we'll do it ourselves. ESPN is screwed. So ESPN has to keep making themselves good enough probability wise. But we've already seen that the decisions that they made, whether or not it's Monday night with the anchors that they had, we all watched Jason Witten for that one season and hated almost every second of it. Watching Patrick Mahomes and Jared Goff freaking throw bombs, and they're talking about something different while Patrick Mahomes is rolling out the pocket and throws a deep touchdown pass Tyreek Hill. Okay, ESPN has to take those, but also ESPN has to abide by Disney rules. I think with the OG First Take, for somebody asked in the chat, I am 30 years old. So I'm not sitting here saying that I was there in 2007. I've mainly started watching sports around 2011, Tebow Mania. That's what brought me in. Remember, OG First Take, they was making songs. They had a DJ making songs about Skip Bayless being like, he just wins. So they had something.
Yeah. I remember that.
But
Tebow Mania.
ESPN was like, okay, we got something great in First Take. And they're like, what if we make everything like First Take, which was the problem. I was a freshman in college at that point. And anybody remember, at least for me in 2011, you could spend your whole day on ESPN. You watch Mike and Mike, then you go to First Take, then you
right.
Then you get highly questionable. Then
No,
you get,
100%.
You can spend your whole day on it. And then you.
That's what I grew up on. That's what I grew up on.
Numbers never lie. Numbers never lie.
Yeah, the numbers never lie. The problem was though, they tried to turn everything into First Take.
Right, it was everything to a debate show, right?
Which is the problem.
Right, I agree with that.
ESPN was great because it was the only thing of its kind. What was it? FS1 got 3 of them shows. They got Undisputed, they got Speak, and they got First Things First. First Things First is fun because at least you know those boys got some kind of great chemistry that you just don't find anywhere. So that's why First Things First works. But I'm just sitting there like, yo, what are we doing here? Like, you got to be able, like, for me, some of the best content that ESPN makes. I don't know if y'all watch the Hoop Collective when it comes on the thing on YouTube when they post that. That is some of their best content. You just have Brian Windhorst, 2 other insiders, and they just talk, and they're themselves. And I'm like, why don't y'all put that on more instead of?
Because people don't want entertainment. They don't want information. They want entertainment more.
I agree with you, but there's still. I think there's enough. I think that they're freaking out. I think they're freaking out enough because they still think First Take is the way to go when it's not anymore. Because at least with my generation, we're growing up and we've seen it. If Skip Bayless is faking what his energy is about LeBron and all that, it's too late now. This is it until he dies. He has to be this way. Because how weird would it be when us Undisputed comes back and he's like, you know what? LeBron is the guy. He has been doing some great stuff. We wouldn't believe him anymore. We wouldn't believe nothing he says. So that's all I'm saying is that they had to find a way, whether or not it's to embrace independent content creators. Like, what if they do call Dove and they give him a contract and say, hey, we want you to be yourself? Obviously within reason, because you can't just be out here cussing like Ticket does. Can't do
that.
But there's a way. That's why I'm thinking I'm very curious to see how Pat McAfee does, because there's a certain special way, and he's already gotten pushback because they said he sold out to the man. When every one of them fans would be like, if ESPN offered the money that they offered Pat McAfee, they all taking that money.
What kind of show would Dub do that would be greater than, and no disrespect to Dub, you know that's my guy, but what kind of show would Dub do on Fox Sports that would be different from what is on there now?
He couldn't, Tyson. That's what I'm saying. He couldn't.
But I think
he couldn't do anything different.
Right. Authenticity. Authenticity is what a lot of people are looking for.
Yeah,
And
but I kind of disagree. He's going to be up there, saying his narratives, whether he feels MJ is better or LeBron is better, whatever he's got. He's going to say his point of view. And
when you say that, that's what I'm saying. I want you to believe when you're saying that. You can say whatever you want about Shannon Sharp. That boy believe in LeBron James. Like if it was like if LeBron James. It felt like sometimes if it's his mama or LeBron James, he's like, I don't know, mama, I might have to say LeBron James. That's how it felt. That's how much like he believed, and that's how he lives his life. I'm sorry. Every time they put Mad Dog, because I know he's a legend in ESPN in the radio game, but they don't watch sports no more. He straight up lied about Steph Curry to the point. What's his name had to Lowe had to make a whole video about it because he's just lying. Like you don't.
No, they get up there lying. I agree.
You don't watch it anymore. You watch baseball and you get mad about Ohtani being better than Babe Ruth, which is actually a fact.
Yeah, that was straight disrespectful. That was so disrespectful.
I'm sorry, though. He don't watch it no more. He just doesn't. Look at how because he wouldn't be.
No, I'm talking to Ty. I'm talking to Ty. That's so disrespectful.
Yeah, he said.
I'm not trying to be disrespectful, Dub.
You're disrespectful.
How am I disrespectful, bro?
Just disrespectful.
Oh man. If he took it as disrespect, I apologize. If you being serious,
we have a different state of mind of thinking from the mold, right? That's the difference, right? We don't think like these other guys, and regardless of what people say, they can't tell me that I just be copying and pasting shit. Well, I know.
I'm not saying you. That's not what I'm saying. No, I'm saying how to.
No. You answered the question. The question was, what can Dub do differently? That's what I would do differently, sir.
What's that? But I'm just saying, people are going to disagree. All I'm saying is, people are going to disagree or agree with you. And they're gonna say Dub up there. People are gonna say Dub's talking bullshit. Some people are gonna say that.
Yeah, that is a fact. That is a fact.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
When it comes to like when y'all be saying stuff, right? When y'all be saying like, oh yeah, the producer's telling them what to say. I hope y'all understand. Like, if we was on ESPN, y'all would be saying that we was doing the same exact thing.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
The difference is it's a fact. If Player's Choice was changed it and we were just ESPN, y'all would be, even though that we are 100% real with our takes, just because we're ESPN, y'all would just be like, oh look, the producer's telling them to say this, producer's telling Taker to say this, or Shaq to say this, or me to say this.
That was my point.
So that's the thing, like y'all, that's why y'all overestimate how much control like these guys, puppeteers in the background, are telling these dudes what to say. What if these dudes, this is just what they really think. This is what they really think, what they really say.
It's not that, bro. People in there because it's just bad, and obviously the numbers have reflected that.
Obviously,
even they Smith on that video and came at every content creator, every sports content creator, and then he straight up made his own show on YouTube and he's doing the exact same thing. All the independent content creators are doing right now. Whatever Real Talk with Stephen A. You're doing the exact same thing that you came at all those content creators for because they said, oh, y'all didn't put in the work. We don't need to put in the work anymore. And you need to understand that, Stephen A. Dub don't need to go to journalism school and do all that. He doesn't need to. YouTube gives
I agree with that. I agree with that.
You gotta understand that.
But how many bad takes are on the internet, though, bro?
There's so many. There's so you can't please everybody.
You can't please everybody, bro. So you sitting up here saying you don't need to do the homework. You don't need to be a journalist. You don't need to go to the game. I understand all that. I agree. Hold on. I agree with you, brother. But at the same time, you getting cats up here just saying bullshit at the same time too.
That's why I don't agree with him. I don't agree with him at that at all. Especially when we're talking about something as big as ESPN, bro. If you're talking about this to YouTube, yeah, your opinions can matter because up to the individual to continue on listening to you. But now when you're talking about ESPN that has a standard now, of course what you've done before and what you want to bring to the table matters. Of course,
who decides the standard?
And your experiences matter. Of course that matters. Excuse me?
Who decides the standard?
Like the corporation. Corporation, because they're the biggest ones. They have like we mentioned earlier. This is a thing that we keep missing, bro. The sponsorship and the businesses behind this. For you to bring up somebody that's gonna come up and say something that could be potentially cost worthy to your company, it's a big deal, bro. That doesn't fall under the entertainment person that's speaking on it.
Right.
That goes to a producer and whoever hired an executive that hired this person. All these things matter, bro. So
I
now,
agree. That's why Tyson was conflating two issues when he was talking about the '90s and how you couldn't, and how you didn't have you weren't connected and you couldn't say what you want. Nobody speaks about the fact that Chael Sonnen, who's a UFC legend, that came on TV or on the internet and said that he has the same drug guy as LeBron James. They never reported that shit on ESPN. Because
you never saw LeBron never did anything to him.
I know, I'm not saying he's right about that. I'm just saying that you were conflating. Tyson was conflating two different issues because it's not like you can say the shit that you can say on the internet and you can go and say it on ESPN. You can't do that because of, like he said, the corporate standard. And that's all I was saying.
I agree with that. But you saying it was, I didn't understand how you were saying it was different in the 90s, though.
No, I said it was different because you were allowed a bit more leeway, in my opinion.
And that's the thing. I don't know what you're basing that off of.
Well, again, you're talking about the 90s. I'm supposed to talk about the early 2000s because
hold on. But to speak on the standard, to speak where the standard came from. Remember how these guys are being hired. These are reporters and stuff like that. Their standard is to come up with the truth, bro. Because once they lose that credibility as a reporter, they're done.
Okay,
so that's why we take a guy like Brian Windhorst, as much as somebody call him a guy like Brian Windhorst, as much as a lot of people view him as like a fucking LeBron Ryder or whatever the fuck. But the reason why he's on there, the reason why people take his information, because he has a track record and a history of being around and reporting on this guy. He has a deep information on this guy. So the things that he say, we do take it as credible. Another guy like Woj. Woj came up now because there was another guy before Woj, but I forget his name. But Woj is a hot guy now. Whenever he says something, boom, that's the news. Why? Because he has a track record of that. That's the standard that they set, bro. The standard is set.
What's the truth?
Doug. They're reporters on the things that they're reporting,
bro. These niggas.
What happened? Go ahead.
I've been trying to say something for 30 minutes.
Yeah, you got it.
Hey, listen, Tyson, Trill, Real. That's Ray?
Ray, yeah.
Listen, everybody had a point with what they saying. But I think what Trey was trying to say was when he said the authenticity of things, you got to be like Ray saying, you got to be careful what you say. But what I'm saying is they'll have a topic, right? They'll bring a topic on these shows, right? But the topic has to go with what one person, they all got a kind of certain topics, like when it comes to race, politics, which they bring into certain things, or when they bring up women, everybody up there has to kind of toe the line. And if anybody veer from that, that's why I think people say that they listen to the producers in their ear, because just like Jalen Rose said something on national TV, and had to come right back 5 minutes later and apologize. That's what he's talking about. And another thing too is another thing that turned people off, like y'all saying, is true. You got YouTube, you got independent people talking about sports and stuff now. That's a part of it too. But another thing that hurt the corporations was when Disney, a lot of moms turned off by Disney because Disney been pushing this rainbow agenda, what I can't really say, you know what I'm saying? Listen, I'm telling y'all, they pushing a rainbow agenda. A lot of race and politics done got into sports that it wasn't back then, because now a lot of people, if you talk to people on the street, bro, I be in calls with people all the time. I listen to Player Choice. A lot of people don't want to watch sports. If they want to hear the news, they want to hear the news on Fox, CNN. They don't want to come to hear about sports and hear about race. They don't want to come hear about politics. They want to come see ESPN talk about what happened in the games, and that's turned a lot of people off. And Disney, with the way they going with the stuff like that, a lot of parents, a lot of moms turned off too. People forget that. A lot of moms unsubscribing because who run the households? It's the moms. Their moms got the kids. The moms is tired of it, so the moms is unsubscribing. The moms telling their kids, you ain't doing that. I'm telling you right now, most dads ain't in the house. It's the moms. That's why they got breast cancer awareness and stuff like that. Well, I'm gonna tell you, listen, Stephen A. Smith, even whether you're a black man or white man, it don't matter on TV. Stephen A. Smith gonna pander to black folks, Matt Kellerman gonna pander to black folks, and white folks. But what I'm saying is, Stephen A. Smith changed the minute that T.O. told him that Max Kellerman more blacker than you. And after that moment,
bro, I was shook when he said that. That's probably why he didn't make the whole.
And y'all saying it's cookie cutter. That nigga got on live TV and told him Max Kellerman was blacker than him. That was wild.
Well, he was a guest, Tyson.
That was wild.
Tyson was a guest. Tyson.
He was a guest. He was a guest. He was a guest.
That smirk the rest of the segment, bro.
Hey Tyson, going back to this. Remember, Kendrick Perkins insinuated that the judges were they was racist. Remember, he insinuated that.
Right.
Cruiser.
What happened the next day? What happened the next day? Molly Cream came on the show and said what?
No, he was wrong. Cruiser, hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Let me start right. So the fact that Kendrick Perkins was able to get away with that, and I said that I went on Fluent and Chill, and I asked Chill this question, and we was going, and I said, if let's just say Stephen A. said something like that about Ohtani, you know the hell, or not even. Let's just say like some white broadcast said that about some, I don't know enough baseball to say that, but popular black baseball player said that. Do you know how much crap that dude would get? That white dude would get.
They would have fired his ass.
It was absurd that he said that, and they didn't even have enough guts to have Kendrick Perkins on first take the next day to apologize. Molly Karen took those arrows for him, which is it was ridiculous. And no matter what anybody says, that changed that definitely changed the MVP race, and it hurt Embiid because Embiid could have won it on his own merit. And now from now on, everybody's gonna say that. Even Ticket said it. He should have 3 MVPs. But I still thought Embiid was because it's a regular season award anyway. People conflate too much postseason with that. But Embiid from now on gonna have to carry that stigma that he won it because Kendrick made it all about race when it wasn't. When it wasn't about that at all. And now you see Kendrick glazing European players any chance he get. Because obviously John Moran had his problems, but he's like, man, I don't know, maybe y'all should invest in European players. American players kind of down bad right now. He said on national TV, I'm like, nah, Kendrick, we still remember what you said about Jokic. If you like Embiid, you like Embiid, but don't take it a race, bro. Don't do that. Don't disrespect Embiid like that. Don't disrespect Jokic like that. Because that's downplaying both of their games. My bad, Cruz. I just
exactly. And again,
wait. That was his opinion at the time, though.
My hot take, I feel he was right.
Guess what? Tyson.
But y'all want to hear these people, but you want authenticity. I thought y'all wanted authenticity.
That's his goddamn opinion.
What do y'all want? Y'all want authenticity or y'all want cookie cutter? What y'all want?
Listen. Max Kellerman can't have that opinion, though.
My hot take, I feel he was right. I ain't gonna lie to you, boy.
Guess what?
You think
Max Kellerman can't have that opinion
because he's white? Jokic was balling for the last 2 years. He just didn't have.
Regardless of what y'all think about who was better, that's not the point. The point is y'all want. The point is y'all want people. The point is y'all want people up there giving their honest opinions, right?
Tyson, answer me this question.
The problem was he knew Jokic had a strong enough case, so he ran to race to knock Jokic's.
But to be fair,
what dog does he have in that fight though? What you mean he was gonna get something if Embiid won?
Why use race at all? Why not just throw up?
Because that's how he felt. That's how he felt.
And then to be fair to that point, I think that was around the time where they played 1-on-1 and Joel put numbers on him. So then to him look up and see that this guy still got.
Go ahead, Cruz.
Tyson, answer me this question.
When he made his comments, though.
Answer me this question, Tyson. If Max Kellerman went up there and said, well, the only reason you guys are going to now vote for Embiid is because he's black, you think that shit would have went over well?
Not at all.
You don't need to, though.
Wait, so how can Kendrick Perkins say?
But Kendrick Perkins didn't go over well, to be fair.
Yeah, the Kendrick Perkins went bad, too.
I think it went pretty well. Kendrick Perkins didn't have to apologize for shit.
I think he did. I think he did.
Hold on, you just keep more and say he glazing for white people for the European players.
Right. He definitely received pushback for that, 100%. No questions about it. He didn't get fired. Maybe he should have been fired. Maybe he should have been fired. If that's your opinion, I don't disagree with you.
I didn't say
because the minute you run the race on something like that, on the
Yeah,
MVP
Max
award,
Kellerman
nah,
maybe
you
would have
done.
got fired for that
Max
type of
Kellerman would have been fired
statement.
if he said that about Embiid. If he said the exact
But
same thing about
again,
Embiid.
that was his opinion. If y'all want authenticity, y'all should be applauding that man for getting up there and saying how he felt.
Again, but you can only be authentic in terms of an agenda that they don't mind you pushing.
Even he
my
knows
boy.
better. Even he knows better. He's been around
Right.
too long to
But
know that.
that's what we're saying. We're saying on the internet, you can get up there and say anything you want.
But the
And y'all
internet
saying that
is
ESPN, the corporate narratives and all this and that is what's making it bad.
He didn't suffer no consequences for that.
Okay, you keep saying I'm conflating. I don't know what conflating means, bro. Talk to me in private. No, I'm just playing. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You're taking what we can say on the internet and pushing that on what you can say on ESPN. It's not the same thing.
Oh, 100%. We agree with that. Everybody agrees with that. But that's what we're saying. But y'all, that's what y'all saying. ESPN is losing its luster or whatever. Is because you can't do that, right?
Right.
Is that was the main point of a lot of people were making? Am I correct, Doug?
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Authenticity. You're saying that Kendrick Perkins was being authentic. Yeah, because he was saying some shit that they don't mind saying. Again, just like we said with the Jalen Rose thing, man. You can't go up there and say nothing crazy about Malika. You can't go up there and say you can't. You can't.
He didn't even say anything crazy.
He did.
He didn't say anything crazy about Malika. I think he was talking. What was it about? I forgot
He
what it was.
He said he mentioned the why wasn't the lady from the Boston situation with Amen? Why didn't mention her?
Why her name wasn't brought out? Yeah.
And they slammed his ass and told him, "Get your ass up there and apologize, boy."
Which is so stupid.
And that's what he did. So that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
All right, hold on. Yet again, bro. Yeah. It's like y'all are forgetting things like have you ever worked or something? Like you like seriously.
I feel you too. So this is like
you're proving my point. This is how these things work, bro. He's in a position of leadership. He's in a position over that lady. So whatever policies they have in that corporation, that's a policy they have when interwork relationships, bro. Right. If he's above her and he says that's not allowed, and he's wrong, and she's the victim, they don't have to tell you who's the victim, bro. He's wrong. That's how they did that.
Wait. Did what about a comment that he made?
Yeah, because he's now he. No, that's wrong. Says that, that's wrong. When he asks that question on national TV now, it does make her, and you put her on we put her as the victim on the line when she's not supposed to be. That's what
did he say though? What did he exactly say?
That's why he had to apologize. That's why remember, if you listen to the apology, he came back to apologize about him not knowing the policies of Boston, the Celtics, about the Celtics shit. He didn't know about that.
He apologized by saying he shouldn't have brought speculation on a woman's name because I guess technically Ime
she's the victim in the case, bro.
Well, no,
that was the whole thing. What was the whole thing?
That lady was hiring the organization.
All Jalen Rose said was, since it was consensual, why don't we know the woman's name as well? Why is Ime Udoka dragged out on
that? In layman's terms, that's a good ass question to ask. Real shit, it really is. But now, when you're talking about a corporation, now when they're saying he violated the policy, then she's the victim, and you don't mention the victim in those kind of things. That's why he had to go back and to apologize, to let that be known publicly, bro. Because she's the victim when it comes to the Boston Celtics. That's the problem, bro.
She wasn't an employee of the Boston Celtics, was she?
Yes.
Yes, she was.
Yes.
Oh, I thought she was old dude's wife. That was
she was both of them. Yeah, she both of them.
Okay.
I thought she was up the ladder
for the sake of argument.
The coach
how do we get
high in the corporate structure. He just publicly people think he's that high, but he's not. He ain't making.
He's an associate. I mean, she's an executive. She's an executive, and he's the coach.
Yeah,
she did
this man. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I'm not gonna lie, bro. This man Malika set Jalen up, bro. He gave her a little side hug. She said, "Get your finger out."
That shit was disgusting. That was nasty.
Yeah, Malika knows. Yeah, she knows her little antics.
No, but still, like I think for the whole scenario that Rose was a part of, I didn't think it was to act as if the girl was a victim. Because it was consensual.
Yeah.
And the Boston Celtics leaked it though, Dub. That's the big problem.
Me too.
Yeah, they leaked it. So what? No, because I'm not gonna lie, Ray. That's fucked up. That's really fucked up.
Yes. Life is not fair, Dub. Life is not fair, Dub. If you're talking about a corporation, Dub, they have their own set of rules and standards.
That's what Trey's arguing against, though. That's what Trey's talking about, though. He doesn't like that mode.
Then he doesn't like work. Then he doesn't like jobs.
No. Because there's a right and wrong, right? And there could be sometimes there's scenarios where I've seen in a workplace environment, this dude said or did something even worse than that, and they were still able to overlook it. The issue is with the agenda that he's talking about, with the agenda that they're promoting and shit like that. That fits the mold of what they're trying to promote about feminism. Jalen Rose got up out of there because of that agenda. So I hear that point right there. Like, you're proving his point with everything you're saying right now. You are proving his point.
Let's say Boston technically not, bro. Right. Technically not, because yet again, technically not. Because to act like rules don't apply to where you work at, it's crazy, bro.
But Trey's saying the rules they have set in place to support an agenda that they're trying to push.
Ray, I have one question, Ray. Let's say Boston didn't leak this at all. I promise you, I guarantee you, dudes, everybody on ESPN could have speculated that it was they because everybody has sources. They could have speculated that it was Ime, and nobody would have got fired by leaking Ime's name if Boston didn't do it. They could have ESPN could have leaked it anyway. Because who the hell cares about them leaking about a man's name in a case? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but they want to get out in front of it, bro. That's why they leaked it.
Look. Whoa.
Okay, hold on. Natty Solo. He's saying they kept her name out of public light because a lot of fans were going to attack her. Then don't put Ime's name out there. Just say
exactly.
You're having an internal problem.
Stop. Wait a minute. You can't say you can't put Ime's name out there if they're going to suspend the guy. First question they're going to ask is, why is he being suspended after coming off the finals? That's the first thing.
They could have kept it under wraps.
They could have kept it under wraps. Come on now. In the day of social media, they could have kept it under wraps.
They leaked it themselves.
I know to get out in front of it because they know who was going to get out.
There's a PA.
No.
There's an NBA PA, bro.
They did that shit.
So hold on.
No. Because if they were really worried, no. If they were really worried, because they did that shit to throw him under the bus for what he did because he fucked somebody he shouldn't have, and he was wrong for doing that. But it was consensual, and she should get some blame for that too. But the thing is this: they didn't put that out there to get ahead of it. They put that out there to sit here and put him under the bus and put him under the limelight. They could have tried their best to be
both
like,
things can be true.
He's suspended. He was suspended for. And wait. They could have tried his best to sit here and be like, oh yeah, he's suspended for some reasons that
for
we just don't feel like aiming right now. Yeah, for conduct.
What would have been the backlash? What would have been the backlash? If hold on, real quick, and you can get your point. What would have been the backlash if they tried to keep this under wraps? Then it gets public, and now they're saying the Celtics are trying to. Yes, it will. People get in trouble for hiding shit all the time.
I know y'all think.
What? What are you talking about?
Hey, fellas,
what?
I know y'all think social media is this all-seeing eye. Nothing gets to social media. Nothing gets out unless somebody wants it out. The only reason that got out,
correct.
The Celtics wanted it out. If they wanted to keep it on the wraps and say, "Hey, Ime, you're just gonna take a year off," and they say, "Hey, maybe Ime's dealing with something personal. He needed to take a year off," they could have done that.
No way.
Yes, they could have. And Ty, it's not like if that would have been a story to break out. It's not like they go look at the Boston organization like, oh yeah, you just
in the Me Too movement. I think you underestimate how people get it.
How is it a Me Too? If it was consensual, it is a Me Too.
It is the
Me Too. Dub, you're showing your age at this point, bro. You're showing your age, bro. Because if they move how you talking about they moving, a lawsuit would have came right behind that.
How? No. How would a lawsuit happen? Stop. No, a lawsuit could have happened.
Explain that, bro.
By now, a lawsuit could have happened regardless if it was really like this Me Too movement shit. No, it was not. It was consensual. It was not sexual misconduct.
She was
not
out here
sexual
making
harassment.
me
It was
tell
not
you where the
anything like
lawsuit
that.
would have
There's
came
no
It don't
from.
matter if it's
I will
consensual
tell you
when
where
you're
the
talking about
lawsuit
shit in
came
the
from.
organization.
If their organization would have revealed her name, that's because they're violating their own
Oh,
policy.
you're talking about the name. Oh, you're talking about the name now. Okay, okay. That's different. We're talking about two different things then. We're talking about two different things. That's fine. If that's a pop,
You cut out, Doug. You cut out.
You cut out.
Shout out Black Pill Dub, man.
Perfect time. Let me
Going off
come
right
in.
now.
No.
Yo, Cowboy Bob said in the chat, Isaiah Thomas was doing that for a year. He was messing around for years.
Exactly. It's not the Me Too movement.
Okay, listen. Even before that.
And then all that shit came out, and now they questioning the organization.
Hold on, Tyson. You think Me Too got everybody? There's still somebody doing something dirty right now. We still don't know about it.
But is it more of a situation? Is it more of a situation
y'all tripping.
where
Y'all tripping.
okay, sure, he's having affairs, whatever, but also the account that he's screwing
And
an
they hate
executive's
it.
wife is another part of it. So I think for the most part, and this could be wrong, but if it wasn't an executive's wife that he was doing it with, the travel coordinator that does all their flights and stuff, if it wasn't that, then this probably wouldn't have been a problem. But considering it was, obviously they're going to feel some type of way, and they want to get Ime out of there.
Why didn't they just fire him? Why with the suspension? Just fire him.
because they were probably because this is why they probably fired because they were conflicted within the organization. There was probably people that wanted him to stay, and there was probably people that just wanted him up out of there, which is why they were trying to see what they can do. That's what happened when any instance happens. You don't just sit here and react immediately when something like this happens. You need to take
What were they waiting on, Doug?
something. So they were waiting on. They have to have meetings. They have to talk to each other about what we need to do.
Were they waiting on public perception too?
No, they was not.
No.
The fucking story. What are you talking about?
It was 100% not public. They didn't care what the public said. It was
What?
the
Y'all tripping. If y'all think an organization move without worrying about what the public thinks of that organization, y'all tripping.
No, that's not what we're saying. Of course, everyone thinks about that. But every scenario is different. A scenario like this, if they kept it under wraps, I promise you, if it came out later on, you know what they're gonna be like? Damn, bro, Ime was wilding. That's crazy that he was doing that. But it's fine. They're not gonna look at the Boston. They're not gonna look at the Boston organization. Oh, you tripping? No,
y'all tripping.
Can I ask the question?
Y'all tripping.
You should try to keep it in house. That's what you should try to do.
Exactly.
Owners and people are getting fired.
What did he do wrong?
Come on, bro. They taking down all type of organizations and people at workplaces for having these inter office affairs. What are y'all talking about?
Policy like the girl did. They both broke the policy.
What did he do wrong?
You're not saying people are not getting.
Ty, what? People get fired, but nobody looks at the organization.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't. If two people at Apple and Microsoft, some executives are fucking each other, and then they get caught. They're not gonna look at Apple like they're not. Apple probably won't even. Apple or Google ain't even gonna air it out. They're gonna let that rock. You're not gonna look at Apple or Google any type of different way. What the hell are you talking about?
But it would be
tripping, bro.
And then to make this analogous, it would be a completely.
Y'all tripping. If y'all don't think the organization has accountability, that's why they have these policies. What the fuck are y'all talking about?
Tyson, you're a grown man, bro. You're so naive, dog. You're so
what? How am I naive?
What are you talking about? What can an organization do? What can an organization do about people keeping the shit in their pants? What can they do? You can't do that.
Make policies, and when they violate the
I'm saying you talking about keeping it a secret and sweeping it. I'm not talking about people having affairs. Of course, people gonna have affairs. I'm talking about not letting public releases out and trying to keep stuff under the rug. That's what we were talking about, Doug.
I will tell you what you did wrong. I will tell you what Ime Udoka did wrong.
All the time. No, they do that. They do that literally all the time. They do that literally all the time, and nobody thinks about anything about the organization. No one. No one thinks anything about the organization.
Example. Hold up, fella. Let me give you a perfect example. So remember when Robert Kraft was going to Florida to get them happy endings?
Yes.
Was that a Patriots problem? Or was that a Robert Kraft problem?
Robert Kraft, and they forgot.
They
That's a
forgot
Robert
about
Kraft
it.
problem.
They
They ain't
forgot.
care nothing about that. They won the Super Bowl right after that.
Yes, and he was holding up the
He was
trophy.
holding up the trophy.
Exactly.
Chilling.
And
That
he
was a
took it
Robert
to the
Kraft
crowd.
problem. That is not a Patriots problem. Just
On
because
camera.
Robert Kraft owns the Patriots, that doesn't mean that everything Robert Kraft does affects the organization. Robert
Hey,
Kraft is the one
Tyson.
flying down to Florida, getting the private jet ready to go get some.
Tyson, I got a question. You
Yo,
remember
hold on. The example he brought up two different things though, because like he said that was a Robert Kraft problem because he did something outside of his team.
And that was the email and that whoever that lady was problem.
No, it's not.
It's just y'all tripping, bro.
That's where you're wrong. That's where you're wrong. Yet again,
Y'all are
he's
tripping.
in a position above
That's
her.
two
He's in a
totally
position-
different things.
He's in a position above her, bro.
He
She's
violated,
insubordinate.
not him.
Him having a relationship with her goes against company
That's
policy.
an inter-organizational thing, bro.
What's up with y'all?
That's two employees of a company, and you talking about somebody going out to a brothel.
That's not what even happened.
So when the last time this happened?
Because they wanted
Ty, wait, Ty. What's
the last time
worse?
this happened?
Wait. What's worse?
This ain't never happened
Two
before.
people having consensual sex, or prostitution is illegal, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Robert Kraft.
No.
Robert Kraft, the owner of your organization, being a part of illegal sexual activities, bro. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Dub. There wasn't even a criminal case, Dub.
I'm about to
It
cook
wasn't a criminal case.
You're not cooking though. You're not cooking at all.
That's different as hell, bro.
Misinterpreting. You guys are misinterpreting the situation. The situation wasn't purely a situation of like an employee and a person above them doing it. It was a situation of an employee doing it with someone under, and her husband is someone above Ime, and because she fucked his husband. That
don't matter. That don't matter. That don't matter, bro. That don't matter.
There was already a relationship.
That doesn't matter. When it comes to policy, that doesn't matter, bro. Because at the end of the day, that executive being married to that lady, it can be easily explained off when they go to the HR and they say we are in a relationship. That's easily explained off. Now, when you have Ime messing with that lady and it's not in HR, that's a violation of the policy.
Y'all are tripping.
Absolutely wrong. It has nothing to do with the other guy. It has nothing to do with the
that's
executive.
not
You're
true.
wrong.
So I agree with something that you said. It's something important that we all know here, that there are a lot of laws and rules we break in our job, but the manager won't care. This situation, obviously, when you have a circumstance between Ime and an affair with someone else's wife, it goes an extra level.
He's wrong again. You're wrong again. When it comes to policies, it don't really have to do with your supervisor, your manager. It has to do with HR. You're wrong because they have to whatever they feel you're doing wrong, they have to bring it to HR, sir. So you're wrong again. We're talking about a business here. You're wrong.
Even if it's that
You're wrong. You're wrong
if it's that
again.
way, the
No,
Celtics
that's
could
not
have
true,
handled
but
it a
I'll
different
argue.
way than going the most public that they get. Short of them making a press conference and
mic
releasing
low,
the
bro.
info themselves, they went almost as public as they could have by leaking it. They could have handled it quietly. They really could have, but they chose to leak it because they
A press conference is not leaking, bro. A press conference is not leaking.
They only attacked one side of the problem.
Exactly.
I don't understand why y'all not understanding this. They could have.
They attack one side of the problem because he's the person who violated the policy. That's why they attack one side of the problem. She's not held to that, sir. She's not held to that. She's not over him, so she's not held to the high authority. He is.
She's an employee,
not her.
though. She's an
What's up
employee.
with y'all? That niggas acting like that niggas is 12. What the fuck?
I don't get what they're not understanding, bro. I don't get what y'all not understanding.
Niggas talking like niggas is 12. He's above her. He has more responsibility than her.
Again,
responsibility because we can basketball.
Nobody
fucking my job all the time,
bro.
Y'all saying shit about that's what I'm hearing now.
I've never heard somebody get fired from shit like that, bro. Quit playing, bro.
Y'all are crazy, bro. Y'all are crazy. Nuts. Get out of here, bro. That's nonsense, bro.
Now,
if there's a manager,
broke it, bro. It's that simple, bro.
Ray, if there's a manager that is
life
out
was
for
that?
you, that does that, anything you do, they'll be keeping two eyes on you. If there's a manager like that, do you think it won't be harder to get away with stuff? And eyes will be on you, so they'll be more critical of you doing a bad thing in the company. Don't you think that's true?
It's still your responsibility to do your job the right way. If you're doing wrong, it doesn't matter if somebody's up your ass. If you're doing right, it doesn't matter if they're up your ass because you're still doing right. Sir, how old are you? Have you ever been fired before?
Yeah,
How old are you?
I'm not a kid. I'm not a kid. So when I leave the job,
and I've been fired from jobs. Why I've been fired incorrectly. But at the end of the day, you have to be responsible enough to understand that you got fired for doing something wrong. You were wrong.
He was hitting.
What are we talking about right now?
These are policies that this man signed his name over. He signed his name for this. He signed his name for this. This is not
If y'all don't, let me say this real quick. If y'all don't think the way a employer handles these situations may look bad on that employer, y'all tripping. We're not talking about somebody going outside of their work. Hold on. We're not talking about somebody going outside of. Hold on, Primo. We're not talking about somebody going outside of their job, having affairs on the street. That's solely on that person.
What they did.
And that, hold on. Let me finish.
Let's not finish. We talking about somebody having an inner office affair with somebody's wife that works for that company. If y'all think that the way the organization handles that situation is not important to that organization, then y'all not adults. Watch this. You know what's so funny? We're talking about this. I literally seen that same exact thing happen in my lifetime.
Where at, Dub?
I gotta bring up a point.
Which one of those people were a public figure?
We gotta remember. The Boston thing came after what happened with Mark Cuban and his organization too. Remember, there was a bunch of people that came out and said that they didn't handle the whole like sexual harassment at that job properly. Wait. That's public scrutiny that they went through. So when Boston come up with something similar, they have to handle everything by the books.
They had to get out in front of it
because Mark Cuban and the Mavericks caught flack for that. Mark Cuban and the Mavericks caught flack, a whole lot of flack for that.
The Washington Redskins for fostering an environment of sexual this that.
They have to go this route.
They had a federal investigation on the shit, bro. What are y'all talking about?
I got a question. Let's say y'all remember the Donald Sterling shit, right? Y'all remember the Donald Sterling shit, right?
Wait. I need to say this. Ty, I seen an organization with there was a high public figure. He was part of he was in corporate, and he was one of those high-end corporate guys. He was having an affair with a lady who was also in management. You know what they did? They fired him, but you want to know something? They did not tell anybody what happened.
Who?
Exactly.
What you mean, who?
Who you talking about?
You're not gonna know every corporate person,
the company and the organization did not tell anybody about what happened. They just kept it under wraps and they tried their best.
I don't know what this organization is you're speaking of.
Compare that person to an NBA coach, head
coach.
Exactly.
That's not a good correlation. Because they use it. No, they do that. No, they do it. What sense does it fucking make? What sense does it really fucking make? Get it through your heads. That people would sit here and look at an organization differently or wrongly.
It's about how they handle it, Doug.
Stop.
Go ahead, bro.
What sense does it make that you think people will be very upset? Logically, tell me, why would people be very upset about keeping a cheating situation like that under wraps away from everybody's attention? Why would people get so upset of an organization trying their best to not let anybody know about that?
Because they would have fired him anyway.
Tell me why. No, tell me why. Tell me why people would be so fucking upset about that organization.
Can I answer?
So mad. Go ahead.
Because so now Ime Udoka gets fired, right? That's what you're saying. Ime Udoka gets fired, and now the internet, everybody's going wild. Ime Udoka just came off this great season. Blah 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 blah. Why did they fire Ime Udoka? Now the speculation thing starts. Now they have an investigation. Hold on. Now they having inquiries at the organization. Why did Ime Udoka get fired? We don't know. He decided to blah blah blah. They're making up bullshit. You don't think people gonna find that shit out, Doug?
No, Ty, you're not listening. He didn't answer my question. I said,
can I try?
No. I asked Ty for a reason.
Okay.
Why would you didn't even answer my question? So tell me why people in the masses would be upset if they find that out? And why would they be so up in arms about them trying not to let anybody else know? Why would they be upset? Please tell me why.
Why would people be upset about them trying to hide that situation?
Yes. Why?
Well, first of all, you add in a PR hit, a distraction to your company by all these questions and inquiries coming in. Why did you fire Ime Udoka? Blah 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 blah. It's all over the public news. Everybody's all talking about it. So instead, what the company instead what the company tries to do, they try to get ahead of the situation because they felt some wrongdoing was done. Obviously, that's why they fired this dude, or that's why they had to suspend him. So instead of trying to hide everything and keep everything under wraps, where you allow all these inquisitions about what happened, and now they throwing people's name under the bus. People gonna leak the information anyway, because everybody in the organization is going to be asked what happened. So at the same time, I understand what you're saying, Sam. Well, why would because you can't hide it is the point.
Okay, so guys, listen. So what he just told me is because we can't hide it, that they should just air it out. It's not that people are going to look at the organization differently. It's not that people are going to question the organization at all. It's not that
they are going to question the organization. I just said that.
No. The main premise of his argument is because they're going to find out eventually, just air it out. Has nothing to do with the public perception, how people will look at the organization. Ty, the reason I asked you is because not a lot of people would sit here and look at the organization differently or wrongly for sitting here trying to keep that under wraps. That's my point. You can't even give me a valid answer. Go ahead.
No. All right.
Go ahead.
Cool. We may look at it a little bit differently. I look at it in the sense of they have to jump in front of it because they don't want the perception that Boston in general has. Right? Think about it. If they fire this black coach without giving you a reason, that actually will point more to them being racist town.
Plus, also the success they just had.
But Ray, they still speculated, even though they leaked it. They still had speculation.
Wait.
You see a leak, but that's what you were talking about earlier. You said they leaked it, and then they had a press conference.
So if they fire
a leak and a press conference are two different things, bro. A leak comes out first, and then you have a press conference to answer what was said or what came out during that leak. Because now the press has time to ask questions to the people who are in authority for the organization during the press conference. Now they can tell you, okay, we're letting him or we're suspending him for contract detrimental to the team because of whatever policy we had.
That's what a press conference is wrong because they hired a black coach right after that. That's all they got to do. Is patch that right
I personally think that's the only reason he got hired. I think that's the reason they hired him.
Well,
I think that's the reason they hired him.
I don't think that's true. But I think something to consider here, and this is a question for Dub. So, do you believe that initially? Do you believe that they shouldn't have aired it out at all, or would you have been okay with, suspension, full investigation, and after all the information and facts are squared away, then they do a press conference. Okay, this is why we fired him, and this is what happened.
So this argument started because Ty was like, "Oh yeah, them airing it out, like it's rightfully so." He said his point was, air it out and everything because people would look at it differently. Your public perception will be ruined, or that matters because you would care about what people would think about it. My argument is that I think that if they kept it under wraps instead of airing it out, because they aired it out just to throw email under the bus, but them airing it out had nothing to do with public perception. Because if they took the action of keeping it under wraps and not allowing people to know, I highly doubt that anybody in their right mind is going to sit here and worry about the public perception of the Boston Celtics and what they're doing. Now, there's going to be room for speculation 100%, but everybody who have the mindset, it was probably something very serious. And I would even say this, it's probably something very serious if they're willing to suspend him and then fire him. So he probably did something fucked up. And then if we find out later,
leave it at that.
And then when we find out later, when we find out later what happened, then we'll be like, Dad, yeah, that was some fucked up shit. I get why Boston was trying to keep this under wraps and not sitting here trying to expose it, right? All I'm saying, the public perception wouldn't have been affected at all. We would have had the understanding that they did not want to air out a cheating scandal with Ime and whoever was in there. I think everybody in their right minds, we're not going to look at the Boston Celtics organization any differently.
This is what I'm saying.
Because it really ain't had nothing to do with them.
No, Primo.
It didn't. It's personal.
Boston, once that news came out, Boston got it.
Y'all don't
first,
understand
right?
business. It's personal.
Hold on, Tyson, hold on.
Oh,
Boston had look.
It's personal. Everybody works for
the
the fucking company, but it's personal.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's personal.
Once Boston got the information, Boston got it before anybody else. Okay, they had a decision
that ain't
on
got
how to
nothing to do
release
with
the
them.
information, and they chose one of the worst ways to do it. Somebody leaked it, and it didn't come from Ime. It didn't come from the girl. It came from the Celtics. That's the only way. That's the only person who could benefit from that. This is what I'm saying. They could have done, hey, we're suspending Ime. It's a very personal inter-organizational situation. We will get you the information once we do our full investigation. Because we've seen other big companies do the exact same thing. Okay? And then
We
they
know
take
who leaked it.
Because
My
then
man
you give them enough time. Sure, people are always going to speculate. Okay, people are always going to speculate, but there's always going to be something else that takes their mind off of it. And then, I don't know,
Exactly.
maybe
People
let's just say
speculated
mid-December or
anyway.
January, they come out.
Exactly,
hey, this is
bro.
exactly
You saw
what
what Richard
happened.
Jefferson said about it?
No, but listen, this is exactly what happened. Here's why we suspended, then fired Ime, and then it doesn't look like, they're rushing to make this press conference
they dropped the
because
ball.
the leak got way
They
crazier than
suspended
they
him
thought it
first.
would.
They should have just fired him.
Exactly.
The
That's
suspension looked goofy.
I
I'm thinking, look, you want to get all your ducks in a row so that when you do that press conference, you have all the answers. And they didn't do that. They fired him. You got all the speculation. Then you have Ticket on the panel saying, "Hey man, what about the other girl?" When it should have been like that. If Ime was above her in the organizational chart, you need to handle all those questions. Because I am in marketing, I am in PR.
But she the
That's what I
cheater,
do for
not
for
him.
my company.
No, he's a cheater too. He had a fiance.
Ime's not cheating. I'm not
He had a
married.
fiance.
Well, he cheated.
I'm not defending.
Yo, but I'm not
I'm not
married.
really
I'm not in the binding
What?
contract.
I heard they went together. I had time. I heard
Cheating on your fiance is still cheating, my guy.
What you said is right. It does affect the organization. The organization just looks like the wrong way to do it.
When you marry, you are in a binding contract where you have to be monogamous.
When they work with that organization in a
married?
binding
I don't
contract
think
too.
Nia and Ime are married.
Ime Udoka was in a binding contract by having to follow that policy.
Then why they suspend them then instead of fire them off the rip?
Because they were doing the investigation.
Then why did they do that? They ain't got no policy. They made that up.
No. Well, there's definitely a policy. I personally
They serious? Then he could have sued them, bro. What's up with you? You gotta get off the block, my nigga. Seriously, he could have sued them behind that.
Come on,
Because if they did fire him without cause, he would have sued them.
You need to get on
You gotta get off the block with that, bro. Like seriously.
Wait, who would have sued him? Say it all is dumb. Like
Ime Udoka. They would have just fired him for no. If there wasn't no policy about him not being able to mess with that lady, and they would just fire him for just messing with the lady, yes, he could have sued them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hold on.
The fuck you?
Primo.
You want to stay in the NBA?
He's not winning.
Get off the block, my guy. Get off the block, bro. Because I got off the block. I got off the block too, son.
Fellas,
I don't even know what you're talking
just got
about.
fired because of that hazing stuff in their locker room. Okay, and he's now suing Northwestern for the rest of his money on his contract because he's saying that they fired him without cause, that he was wrong how they fired him.
This happens all the time. Correct.
Same way, there's a lawyer out there who would have taken his money to get that money back that technically the Boston Celtics owed him on the rest of his contract.
Right.
Ime did say nothing. He just left. We didn't see him.
He knew he was wrong. He would have
He knew he was wrong. He knew he violated policy.
Jesus.
If he didn't get another, if he wouldn't get another job, he probably be suing. Right?
We don't know that, Primo. We don't know that, bro.
You don't know anything.
You're just talking.
I'm just saying. We saying that you don't think it's a policy against. You don't think it's a policy against inter-office affairs and people of higher ups having sex with employees. That's a policy at every job, bro. What are we doing?
Yeah, like 100%. That's 100%.
Even Starbucks, bro. You tell me the manager, if the manager starts messing around with the cashier,
I mean, he does, but nobody can find out.
It happens. Don't get me wrong. All kind of shit happens, but that don't mean it's not against the policy.
That's why you can't mess with your boss's wife so you don't get caught.
If the night manager starts messing around with the girl,
that's a worse way. You for sure not supposed to be messing with the boss's wife who works there. Come on, bro. Are y'all serious?
Ime is so stupid, bro. Like, I don't know, man.
So you telling me the policy give me a punishment if this happened, not
problem
fire
is-
me on the spot. That's what the policy meant,
They
right?
had to do the investigation.
They got to do the investigation, bro.
There's a whole investigation that needs to happen.
Do y'all understand that at most jobs they suspend you first before they fire you?
Absolutely.
Come on, Primo. You know you should understand this, bro. You don't.
Come
You
on,
just
bro.
don't get. You just don't get a sentence the first time you see
They
the
don't
judge.
suspend you. Where I come from.
I mean, I think.
Well, you ain't had no union on your job, bro. You ain't had no union. You ain't had nothing. Because most of the time, they're going to suspend you with pay. They suspend you with
that's
pay.
not true. I was at a union job. They will
I
fire
just
your
had a
ass. I don't know
job.
what you're talking
Hey,
about.
well, certain things, but Dub, yeah, agree. If they,
If you're doing something like that, they fine your ass.
no, but I mean, there's nothing wrong. But y'all acting like it's out of the ordinary for them to suspend you too.
He did something
First,
wrong.
that's why they investigate. You never heard of that, Dub?
Yeah, they do that.
Thank you. That's all we saying.
Okay, if he was doing tax evasion, maybe you keep him at the,
Outta
at the
there.
job, still coaching. But this is something different. So that's why they suspended him. Boston didn't do enough. They didn't give enough leeway to do the investigation, and that's why they looked like a complete incompetent.
No, they fired him
organization.
because of public pressure.
Yeah, because
Once
they
the
looked
pressure got
incompetent.
on.
They didn't
No,
do
they
their
fired
due
him because he
diligence.
screwed an exec's wife, and that exec
That's
was
exactly
pissed.
what
That's all
happened.
he got.
Both. That was my point, Dub. Public pressure plays a part as well.
But they made the public pressure those
That's
types.
different. No, they were the ones instead of just sitting here.
That's
and-
my point.
No,
If y'all think that was not going to come out, what is wrong with y'all?
No, Ty, you're not listening, bro. You're not listening. Ty, it's what you're arguing. Who said Trey? You're conflating things again. Your argument,
Y'all misinterpreting what I'm saying, bro.
No, Ty, your argument was about the public perception and everything. Then
You're not listening to you taking the what I'm saying earlier.
No, wait.
All I'm
listen.
saying is they knew what was going to come out.
Right now, you just did it right now.
Dub, listen to what I'm saying. And if you still feel the same way, fine. All I'm saying is they knew what was going to come out. They got out of the story. They knew they were going to have to suspend him. So they got out in front of the story and said, "This is what happened.
Right.
We're suspending. We're suspending Udoka for this reason. This is why, and we're going to do an investigation. Now, once you suspend them and say what's happening, now all the public stuff starts coming in. You start hearing the outside noise. So of course the organization takes that into consideration when they're weighing whether they're going to fire Udoka or not. That's all I'm saying.
Wait. Watch this. Because you threw a little jab.
That's why we needed to know who that woman was.
Hold on, bro. You threw a little jab like, yeah, Doug, that's what I'm talking about, public perception and shit. I'm telling you, it's idiotic. It was idiotic for them for the way that you're talking about getting ahead of the game. It was idiotic for them to do that. You want to know why? Because if you wait for the heat to die down, you wait for the drama to die down, and then they find out later you're not going to get as much backlash.
Exactly.
So if we're going off of your state of mind, it's stupid. It's stupid for them to sit here and air it out there because whenever everything happens, like if something happens today, it's going to be more relevant today, and people are going to be more up arms about it within the next week or so. But if a month or 2 months down later the road we find this out, you're not going to be receiving the same amount of backlash from 2-3 months later than right now in this moment. So even with that state of mind, that's crazy, bro.
You're talking about a
That's a fact, Ty. What are you talking about?
I understand what you're.
Oh my God, Doug, you're talking about a basketball organization.
You conflating it again. You conflating the situation, brother.
I'm not.
This is what I'm trying to tell you. Okay. Once they knew the situation happened, okay, they had a myriad of choices to make, and they chose the wrong one by leaking it. They could have called a press conference and said, "Hey, we are suspending Ime pending
they leaked it.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Them leaking it was a horrible decision. By them saying, "Hey, we're calling a press conference before anything comes out." We're calling. All of a sudden, if we're just like, "Hey, boss is holding a press conference tomorrow at 10 o'clock." We don't know what's going on. They come in, they say, "Hey, Ime is suspended pending an interorganizational situation. We are investigating, and we will come out once we have all the facts." Then you wait because you have a chance to control public perception. You have a chance to control the backlash, but they didn't. Once they leaked it, you let Everybody speculates.
How?
Now they don't have the power to control the public.
You acting like it wasn't gonna come out anyway,
Yes,
my
it was
boy.
gonna
That's what
come
I'm
out.
saying.
No, listen,
I want to
listen,
ask
listen,
Tyson. I got
You saying they're gonna have a chance to control the situation? How they gonna have a chance to control it when it's going wild anyway?
Tyson.
Yeah, I want to build on that
All
question.
right, Todd. Let me create an analogy for you.
Oh my
Let me create an
God,
analogy for you.
I can't keep
Oh, my
telling
bad,
him the same thing.
my bad. Go ahead, Randall. My bad. Go ahead.
This is what I'm trying to tell him. By you, it's gonna come out eventually. But you control when it comes out. By you controlling when it comes out, you control
You're not.
the
That's my
backlash
point,
that
though,
comes
brother.
from it.
You're not controlling when it comes out.
Yes, you do.
Yes, you do.
Yes,
How?
Okay, listen,
So this is
Telling
why
yourself
I
before
feel like
you
my
even
question
get
can
caught.
like help.
How you control when it comes out when people are gonna be talking behind you?
Let Randall go.
Let me give you an example. Okay. All right.
Good.
So let's just use because at the job I work at. Okay. There
Keep
was
your mouth
a
shut.
there was.
I don't want to hear about a job you worked at. Your job you worked at is not the Celtics, bro.
Oh my
Thank
God.
you.
Still a job,
I
bro.
don't
Like,
understand how you
what are you
don't get this.
doing?
But y'all
Listen,
just said that's a
like,
job.
oh,
Y'all
I
just
might-
scream,
Just
ain't
because it's a
nobody
basketball
never had a
team
job
doesn't mean it's
before and
still a
all that,
business.
though.
It's still an
That's a
organization.
fact.
Thank
If
you. It's still an
something
organization.
happens,
It's still a
okay,
company. Stop
if
acting
somebody,
like there's some
if
I got a
high
somebody came
perfect
up to
analogy.
you with all the questions that you would probably have, saying, "Hey,
Randall.
The NBA ain't
we
the
have
only
now
company.
suspended Ime. He is now fired, and this is exactly what happened." They tell you exactly everything that happened. You feel better about it than you not knowing what happened because they leaked it. If Woj
Randall.
leaks it, then all of a sudden you got Ticket, Dub, Mars, Chill, Fluid, and they're all, nobody knows what's happening. So that invites speculation, which could make it even worse than it actually could be, or could say something different. Then you lose
Random. I
control
got a
of the
perfect analogy.
situation. Boston should have controlled it
But
as
you
best
missing
they
my point,
can.
though, brother.
Rand-
You
There was always going to be backlash. There was always going to
You
be
missing
backlash.
my
But if
point.
control
You
your
saying
backlash
they
goes
would be
to Ime or
speculating.
somebody else, then
You saying hold on, bro. You saying
can't-
they're gonna be speculating. You're missing my point. You missing my point. I'm saying somebody of the organization would have leaked it anyway. That's my point.
They did.
No, they wouldn't.
No,
Tyson,
so that's why I wanted to bring up this
I got a
question real
perfect
quick.
analogy.
Why is
guys. I
that
got a perfect
funny? I don't
analogy.
understand. Like y'all don't understand that.
Because you're repeating yourself.
I got a perfect analogy.
Yeah, but he keep on saying that the organization had control over the situation. They don't have control in that situation. Is my point.
They do have control, and they do have control and leaking it as soon as possible.
Yeah, like what about the situation with
You could have
Bron's-
just waited.
Bron's mom?
So Todd, watch this, right?
What about the situation with LeBron's mom?
That's a lie. Like,
Todd, it's like this, right? It's like this. Let's say I have a driving incident, right? Let's say a small little, I hit a car. I scrape
I got
it.
a better analogy.
You got a better one? Go ahead,
Bro.
go ahead. What's the analogy?
Okay, let's say we're taking down a big ass building. Would you rather blow that bitch up with a bomb or do controlled demolition?
Yeah, controlled demolition. Go ahead.
Control fucking demolition to control the fallout. If you just blow that bitch up in the bomb while people are around walking and shit, you can't just take the building down like
Hold
that.
on, hold on. This is my analogy. That's a dumb analogy, first of all. That's a dumb analogy, first of all.
I get it.
No. Listen. Let's do Dubs. Let's do Dubs. Let's do Dubs analogy. Let's do Dubs analogy.
So Todd, right?
Can I get it on? Let's do Dubs analogy.
Let me hear you.
Say you get in a car accident, but you're not in the car by yourself. You on the fucking bus with 100 people on that motherfucker, and they come out and you say, well, I don't want to say what happened. I want to keep it a secret. But this is a big bus, and everybody is watching this bus. So they interview everybody on that bus and ask them what happened. The story's gonna get out anyway. So you as a company is better.
No, time out, because the people on the bus are not a part of the same company at all.
Even if they're part of the company, okay. Even if they're part, even if it's a company bus, it's a company bus. Fuck it, it's a company bus. It's a company bus, and it happens. It's a company. They're on a company trip. They're on a company trip. So that solves your problem, right, Doug?
Todd, if I get pulled over for being drunk, I'm not gonna just sit here just because I think that they're gonna breathalyze me. I'm not gonna just sit here and be like,
but you're not accounting for the other people in the car.
Wait. Damn, we're talking about handling a scenario, handling a situation.
I understand what you're saying, but you're speaking for an individual.
Even if
Ty,
we're
go
all
to
in,
the
there's
block
four
on
of us.
this one.
There's 4 of us in the car. There's 4 of us in the car, so we can all get in trouble for this shit, right? I'm not gonna sit here. I'm not gonna sit here and tell the cop, yeah, bro. I'm not gonna tell the cop, yeah, bro. We're all drunk as shit right now.
Okay, this what happened.
I'm gonna
This
tell
what
him.
happened.
I'm
Okay,
gonna tell
let's
this
use
man.
your analogy.
I'm gonna try my best to not get caught.
Exactly. So let's use your analogy. Let's use your analogy, duh. So me and 4 niggas up here go hit a lick. We go rob a bank.
Yeah,
As soon as y'all come outside, the police is out there. When y'all go to the motherfucking thing, that somebody's gonna say it was Dub's idea. It was Dub's idea to do this. I had nothing to do with it because he's getting out in front of it before Dub says it was your idea. Somebody in that group is gonna say no, it was Dub's idea. Am I correct or not?
Are you snitching, bro? Are you serious? This is the analogy you're using, snitching?
Yeah, that's not you're not answering my question.
You're saying just because I know people are gonna rat me out, I gotta rat them out too?
Exactly.
I'm getting
That's facts. That's facts.
Let me get this one question off.
Exactly, but the organization is not going down, Primo. That's my whole point.
Let me get this off.
Where they going?
So,
well, how is them snitching on themselves gonna create less pressure rather than trying your best not to get caught? What?
But you see, now you switching up the story because when I proved your shit wrong, your analogy.
You did not.
No, let me get. That's too much. That's too deep. They wasn't in that deep. That's Penn State deep. Robbing the bank. And we all go down. That's 20 years deep. They was in a misdemeanor.
Okay.
They had a misdemeanor case. We throwing rocks at the window.
Yeah, that's where.
Tyson, you ever got in trouble when you was a kid?
That was nothing.
And Tyson, you got in trouble when you was a kid, and the school
100%.
home. Tyson, okay, and then the school calls you home, but your mama don't answer the phone. But they send you home with a note. All right. What do you do when you get home? You give her the note right away, or you trying to figure it out? Then again. So that's just does my snitching ass? Hold on, and let me ask you a question. Does my snitching ass little sister know? Does my snitching ass little sister know what happened? I got to go home and tell mama before she do.
Nice try. You don't have a sister. Get the same ass.
But you talking about? But this is what y'all not understanding. Y'all acting like the organization has control of all its employees to say that nobody's gonna tell. That's my point. Y'all acting like the organization can control the situation.
They'll get fired.
They could have
told.
If they leaked it to Woj,
say anything.
the Celtics could have walked up to Woj and said, "Look, you need to tell us what your leaker is, or else you're not getting nothing from us no more."
What happened?
This is why I wanted to
that's not going to happen. Like I said, y'all acting like the organization has control of every employee in that organization that knows what happened. So the Boston Celtics are operating from a standpoint that this is the organization is operating from a standpoint that this
what happened.
They did till somebody's tails, Primo.
Like what's going on?
Y'all tripping, bro. Y'all acting like the organization has control to say that everybody's not going to tell this story. So what they're doing,
if you tell them, if you say anything, you'll get fired. I'm pretty sure that's
people leak information from organizations all the time. How you think we know about this? From
the next day, Tyson.
No, they don't. Shit can be anonymous. You can call up y'all tripping,
crazy,
bro. Y'all act like people in organizations don't leak. That's how this shit gets found out.
Todd, this goes back to the point I keep trying.
Y'all know what a fucking whistleblower is?
The premise of your argument. The premise of your argument
making me mad, bro.
No, the premise of your.
How am I making you mad? You act like snitches don't exist. You switching snitches under the rug now?
Not me, baby.
Todd, listen.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying what happens.
Todd, listen. The premise of your argument is just because everyone's gonna find out, you might as well leak it. And then you're saying that people would look at the organization differently or wrongly or just badly just because they try to hide it. What I'm trying to tell, what I'm trying, what I'm trying to tell you, Ty. What I'm trying to
they would look
get
better for keeping under wraps. I got you.
They will look. It will look fine. The backlash wouldn't be received as heavily.
Let's answer that. But I'm answering to the other points that people are saying y'all could have controlled it. Do you agree that they probably couldn't have controlled it?
I do agree. It's kind of hard. I do think it's hard to control that many people. But at that point of time, all the Boston has to do is like, we're not at liberty to talk about that. So it's all speculation.
It wouldn't matter, Tyson. But it wouldn't matter because again, if one person like Tyson said,
that's a problem.
Exactly.
What happened? I didn't hear that part. What did he say?
That, like, I don't know, he did something else. That's not.
Which part didn't you hear?
Right.
No,
you said exactly.
If it was a sexual harassment, automatic, he got to go.
Yeah, he'd be done.
I'm out of here.
But that's my point. Y'all acting like it's nothing wrong. Y'all acting like it's not. That is part of sexual harassment. That falls under sexual harassment. Even though it's consensual. Even though when you have. Hold on, bro. That's why it's a policy that falls under the same guidelines. It's sexual misconduct.
If he violated so bad, he would be out the NBA right now.
No,
I'm not
bro,
saying it's not levels, but I'm saying it still falls under sexual misconduct.
Organizational policy. He didn't even violate an NBA policy. It's organizational.
I don't understand why y'all don't get that, man. But y'all don't act like organizations are not under pins and needles under this Me Too movement under sexual misconduct.
No. In order for something to be sexual misconduct, the only way for it to be determined sexual misconduct, if it's the sexual behaviors are unwelcomed. It wasn't unwelcome.
That's not true, Dub.
No,
that's where you're wrong.
That is not true, Dub. You're lying again. Don't lie to these young people, Dub. Stop. Don't lie to these young men.
Thank you.
Do you want me to read to you? I will look it up for you.
Okay. Jesus Christ. Dub. When you're in a position of authority over somebody, it doesn't matter if it's consensual, bro, because they look at it and you're coercing that person because you have.
Oh, I'm lagging.
Did he
freeze?
I think he like it. But it's that all falls under sexual misconduct, duh. I understand harassment and rape and stuff. Those are things. Those are legal, huh?
Ty,
no. What do you mean?
Ty, because literally, I'm reading the exact definition right now. In order for something to be sexual misconduct, the behavior has to be without consent. It was all consensual.
You talking about a law? I'm talking about the law, bro. You talking about law? You conflating.
The legal definition.
Hold on. Hold on, Doug. Of course, two people having consensual sex in the regular world is not sexual misconduct. Doug, come on now.
To is fraternization. It's completely different. So they're just two different terms.
What happened?
You're referring to fraternization when someone above power is messing with someone lower. That's different from sexual misconduct, which is purely sexual actions that are non-consensual. Two different things.
Okay.
No. I disagree.
But the thing is, do you even know the bosses?
You disagree with
the fraternization don't have to be sex, though. So what do you
mean? It doesn't have
fraternization doesn't have anything to do with sex.
I'm gonna read off some super chats.
That's part of it.
Jesus Christ.
We're finished.
Shout out to you for holding it down from Christ. ESPN can only fall so far. They still have the most important things: TV rights and the best access to the athletes. Actual players rank Kobe in their top 3 to 5. Eddie Wilson is a member. Appreciate you, brother. Don't forget, Disney Plus has been losing money.
And that's what I said when, how other things are affecting ESPN. ESPN is the low man on
PC
the other things that Disney owns.
This is affecting ESPN.
I don't think you guys are mentioning.
Natty is right.
I don't think that you guys are mentioning the evolution of media. The fact that someone can get their message heard around the world should be mentioned. Why doesn't Wade get the can't shoot label? Because he can't shoot the 3-ball like that, but he could shoot the mid-range. Why are none of you bringing up the real point? It was brought to the media about Ime. He was being looked at for harassment at first. One thing to point out in the Ime situations that it didn't happen on company grounds, so it's more of a personal issue than a company issue.
That's what I was saying.
Not true.
Not really.
If he was hitting her in the locker room,
it don't matter where you do it, bro.
Oh yeah, now he violated. But if he met her at a coffee shop,
It does not matter. Come on, Primo. What are you talking about,
in
Primo?
the organization. She works there. What do you mean he met her at a
Now,
house?
whose wife
He met her on the
is
trap.
Primo,
What are you
Primo,
saying? What are you
listen to this. Okay, so
It
remember when all them
depends on
Karens were
whose
getting in
wife
trouble
this
for
was.
doing all crazy
An
stuff like that?
executive,
Karen
the
lady.
person that handles finances. That was his wife.
Okay,
How
Primo,
we know that?
hold
They
up.
never said that. They never fact checked that.
Primo, listen to this. Okay, remember when all them Karens were getting in trouble, like that lady who tried to stop them black people from cooking and from grilling in Oakland, right? And then she started crying. She still embarrassed the organization, so she got fired. Everything you do, you represent someone. Okay, you represent your job right now. That's what you're doing. You know you're chilling at the crib. You represent somebody. I'm not.
I understand
my
what
thing
you're
was saying
saying,
is
but
that
they didn't fire him. They suspended him. So they
Yes,
were
for
trying to
investigation.
under the rug.
For the investigation, yes.
You leaked
if
it.
you just fired
They
him straight
suspended him
up,
for the
that means you
investigation.
got all
him
the
off the
information
rip.
already.
We said it too many times.
No, you can't do stuff
I
like
have a
that.
question.
And wasn't the harassment thing proven false? Or it was definitely proven false already. I know
Man,
they
they knew that was
I
false.
have a
Man,
question.
they
I
was
have a
clapping.
question. I have a
That's what I
question.
heard. That's what I heard.
I have a question. Like, and honestly, be real with yourselves. If they were both single, would this even be an issue?
No,
Probably not. Probably not.
Yes,
No.
it can be. It can.
Probably
it
not.
can be.
Probably not.
But
It
again,
wouldn't be a
can be.
No,
done.
not even single.
guess what?
If
But
she
guess
wasn't
what?
married.
But guess what? But
It
guess
wouldn't
what?
be
It wouldn't
You
have
right,
been
Dub.
an issue. It would
You
not.
right, Dub.
The main
No,
reason
no,
for all
no,
of
no,
this
no, no.
is
You
because they
can't
were
say
because
that,
they were
Dub,
both
Dub,
cheating.
Dub.
No, probably though.
You can't
Probably,
say
brother.
She
that,
was a
bro.
married woman.
Dub, you can't say that, bro. You
We're
you have a
saying
bunch of
if
dudes
they
on
were
this channel.
single, that's the hypothetical.
Dub, you got a
If
bunch
there's
of
no single,
dudes
there's
on
no
this
power
channel. You
imbalance,
can't be giving them
Trevor.
that type of
That's what they
advice,
can't.
bro. When they get into a
Ray,
corporate
I
setting
agree with
and
you.
they get in a position of power, they gotta understand it doesn't matter if they're in the building or not, bro. They're in a position of power over their subordinate. They have to not cross that line, son. You have to
You're
give
right,
that
Ray.
advice.
I
That's
agree with you.
You got to
agree
be
with
careful.
that.
You got to be careful.
Nobody's
bro,
saying,
not to cross that line, bro.
nobody's saying to go out here and bug it. I'm just saying in terms of this scenario.
He's saying
these are just realistic. These are just what?
Dub is saying it's still against the policy. It's still against the policy, but it wouldn't have been the big public thing that it was. So it's more likely to get swept under the rug than the situation that happened. That's what Dub is saying.
I agree with Ray. I agree with Ray. You
Also, the fact
absolutely
that
right.
Email them
only
hit it,
problem
right? They didn't
was
tell nobody, right? They didn't tell the organization. So, of course, the organization was blindsided, too. Because there is a clear, because according to what y'all said, there is an imbalance in power. Like Drink More Water said, employees can date if they're on the same level of the organization.
Yes.
So, if two cashiers can date, but if the manager starts dating the cashier, that is an imbalance of power. What if the manager's like, hey, I want you to take $50 out of the cashier right now, take it home with us? That's
What's
imbalance
her
of
job?
power. Because you can ask things of the person below you.
Right.
Okay? That's the problem.
So was he hitting somebody's wife who worked there, or did she work there?
They both worked
there.
Yeah,
they
she
both
worked there.
worked
And
So
her
she got a
husband worked
token job.
Look, Ray and Tom,
we don't know that.
Basically,
I don't know the woman. I'm not gonna put any.
She might have got hired first, bro. That's crazy.
Well, that would be worse, Tyson. That would be
That's
worse.
crazy.
That's crazy.
I mean, if she got hired first, she wouldn't have been fired.
That would have been worse.
She wouldn't have got fired.
That would
again, we got
Dub. Can we go back to ESPN? We've talked about Email enough, man.
I got it in the show. I'm not gonna lie. I got it in the show.
Oh
We're
my
way
God.
over time.
Hold on. One
right
question,
on
though, Dub.
time,
One question.
too.
One
What's the
question.
question? What's the
Hold on.
question?
So for everybody in here, what do y'all see the future ESPN being like? Because
I really
besides
think they're
live
going to
sports-
sign YouTubers. I'm not even going to hold you. I really think
They're gonna have to
Hey,
do
Dub,
this.
Because you
Dub,
seen,
it's your
was
time,
it
bro. It's your time,
NBA
bro.
got Thinking Basketball doing stuff for them now. NFL got Brett Coleman doing stuff for them now.
Yep.
You got other people like the dude Tom Grossi. He did his 30. He went to see all 30 NFL stadiums in like a month. And he raised money for children's, and he was everywhere. He was on Rich Eisen.
They're going to start. They're going to start getting independent influencers.
You're going to do that as well.
Oh yeah, man. They got Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
To Dove's point,
Pat
though.
McAfee was a big
They
one.
about
They're
to
gonna,
get
they're
Shannon
gonna
too.
They should get more.
To Dove's point with the YouTubers, though. Are they going to hire like YouTubers who are like more PC, where they don't curse, they don't get out of line too much when it comes down to the YouTubers? They're going to hire those type of YouTubers, or they're just going to go for just the more entertaining ones?
The ones that don't curse.
I don't know if that's exactly true, because Pat McAfee is cursing on his YouTube channel.
because he's not going to listen. He's not going to conform. The minute the minute Kenneth Prince say something slick to him, he called him the N-word on national TV.
Man, Ticket will conform for $10 million.
I think what they're definitely
Man,
going to they're going to look for personalities.
Because Ticket will conform for $10 million.
Nah, Ticket don't care. Ticket don't.
Ticket like
all they got to
Ticket
do
would
is
change
come
for
out with
10
an
M's.
uncut ESPN.
Ticket lives a
Let's not
really
give
good
him no
life.
idea.
He don't care.
Even if he tried, I don't think he could do it. Like me personally.
I think he could, man. For $10 million, Ticket would.
He gonna slip up like one. Like it's gonna be that one time. Like
Ticket plays basketball. I'm sure he has a basketball. I'm sure
y'all need to go nowhere. Do this. You gonna override them in a minute.
Screw the 10 million, man. Screw the 10 million.
Hey, salute to you guys, bro. Like the video, subscribe, and I apologize for
way
this
more being
crazy episode.